Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly chat. And this is episode 54. And thank you so much, as usual, Delboy, for coming on. And I just do what I normally do and say, what have you been watching? And take it away. Whatever you want to talk about, just go on.
Well, thanks everybody, and I mean, I'm still looking after my mum, so obviously it's a bit hard for me to watch some stuff. I did watch some stuff. I put it in my blog at the end. Did get round to watching Heretic and a few films that I put in my
Oh,
trailer.
you've seen Heretic.
Trailers at the end. Believe it or not, by the way, that's the first blog where I've actually got a partially blocked in the world message. They will not.
Oh.
They will not play. They will not play that in Russia. Apparently, I went. All right, no problem.
Well, Heretic.
Yeah, and the reason for it is it's got a remaster. It's got a remaster of "All You Need Is the Air That We Breathe" by the Hollies.
Oh yes, it has that song. It's important in film, isn't it? Yeah. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and you live and learn that this is the problem that I've got. I could have argued the point. I could have turned around and said, it's a trailer. It's on YouTube. But at the end of the day, I don't know if the company that actually brought out that trailer have also got a block that says you can't put it in Russia. So I haven't got a clue, have I? So I didn't bother going down the route. But I watched The Heretic, and I thought that was an interesting film. It didn't scare me or anything, but I do like the idea of testing your belief going behind two doors, one that says belief, one that says disbelief. I thought that was
I enjoyed it. Idea. Yeah. And the whole discussion on religion. I mean, to get that in a film is amazing. Going through all the religions. I loved it. Thought it was fantastic. All that. Anyway, carry on.
So I'm just going to turn the background off. Look, hopefully it doesn't cause. So there's Heretic. I thought that was a pretty good film. Loved it. Actually, I thought that was quite underrated. I also watched The Outlaw Josie Whale this week. I've watched them digitally, by the way, just so that you know that these aren't open yet. I did watch them digitally. I love The Outlaw Josie Wales. It's one of those ones that I think is a little bit underrated. To be quite honest, it is a nice Western. At a time where Westerns were starting to be out of favor a little bit. Was it 1974? I mean, my God, the 70s weren't good for Westerns. I'll tell you that much. And it took a good 10 or 15 years for it to recuperate. And Unforgiven is usually where they say that the Westerns were acceptable.
Went out of fashion, really.
I don't count Unforgiven as the thing that jump started it, because there are some films like Young Guns and Tombstone and all that sort of stuff around it that basically were equally as good films. But Unforgiven, you could say jump started it. It was pretty good. I finally got my copy of The Man with X-Ray Eyes. It's taken absolutely ages for me to get that. That's the what is it? I think it's the MGM release. Yeah, Second Sight. That's it. It's the Second Sight release. So that was good. It only cost £19 in the end. It's just it took bloody ages to get it.
Yeah.
That's one of those films that is a guilty pleasure that I watch every couple of years. Do you know what I mean? It's like it shows it shows its swinging 60s-ness, but along with a serious question of if your eyesight could be improved to an existential extent, could you see the center of everything? You know what I mean? It's that sort of story.
Yeah.
And I remember reading those sort of stories in things like Tales of Suspense and things like that. Those old pulp horrors that I read as a kid, that were only about 3 pages long, and it had always had a death at the end or something, right? Speaking of that, there's the aforementioned Tombstone, which I think a lot of people are very happy with at the moment. It's finally come out. Val Kilmer, rest in peace. A really classic Western, one I'm so glad that I've got in my collection. It really is nice. And of course, these Clint Eastwood ones have started to come out. So Pale Rider turned up on Monday. Another sort of like great Western, but it means that Dirty Harry is not that far away from my coming into my collection, which is where I go, whoa! I can't wait. Dirty Harry, I really can't wait to see that in 4K. I am going to be leaping off of my chair. This is an unusual one. Stripes. Not a fantastic comedy. It is a Bill Murray definite showcase. It's that 80s type of Porky's, but in the army. I think it tried to be Sergeant Bilko, but with Bill Murray, that was a stretch. Because Sergeant Bilko has got far more charisma than Bill Murray. And Bill Murray, as much as I love him, is not Sergeant Bilko. So, but it's got some standout performances from, John Candy. He stands out, I think, in that film.
Yeah.
You can see how the elements of Ghostbusters join together in that film, there's a couple of characters in Ghostbusters that are in Stripes. You know what I mean? So that's great.
Yeah.
One that you didn't like is next. It's not a steelbook or anything. It's The Brutalist. It finally came out.
This week. Yeah.
4K.
Do you think I should give it another chance?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that if you didn't like it the first time, you could like it the second time because you're watching it at home rather than at the pictures, maybe. Or maybe you saw it at home and you saw it streaming.
I saw it at home.
Yeah, and you might have seen it streaming and you might think, well, I'll watch it now as in its proper 4K, no compression, all of that sort of stuff. I do believe that some people. It was
just one or two things just kind of put me off in the film, and it shouldn't have done. It's a bit long, and that's it. As I say, there's a scene which is not very nice in it, and it just.
I know the scene you're talking about.
Put me off. But
I think it's one of those ones that. You when you first see it, you either love it or hate it. If you hate it, I think it will take a long time for you to like it. You'll have to watch multiple times. You'll have to sort of drag yourself into your mind to say, I want to watch it again. Because if you didn't like it, you think 3 hours. I gotta watch it 3 hours. And I didn't like it the first time. In your head, you're going, I could watch 2 other films equally better than this. What am I doing with this? And I've left the best till
But on the other hand, we can watch 3-hour films and they go and sail by if you're really into it.
They do.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
The one thing I've noticed about The Brutalist is I noticed that certain versions that were out there digitally were compressed to hell.
Yeah.
And there are and the colors are a bit more vibrant on the ones that are less compressed. So it might, if you thought it looked a bit muted and dull, it might be a surprise when you actually watch the physical edition of it. Be aware of that.
Yeah.
If you're ever going down the line of I'm just going to download and watch a digital copy, certain digital copies are not the same as other digital copies, and they could be so compressed that it will stop your enjoyment. Always be wary of that. That's why I've always loved physical media and why I've used digital as just a sloppy, quick way to watch a film. And if it's a film I really want to watch with uncompression, I know it's going to be a 30 gig file plus, and therefore it's going to take time to download. You can't email that to someone, a 30 gig file. It's just too large. That's why when you're sending things to friends just to say, look, here's a review copy for you to watch, you're really watching a compressed,
yeah,
and it might not be the best for your enjoyment. It really is just for you to watch, before you get the
yeah.
proper copy for yourself. And I've never felt bad about it, because I've bought every one that I've got a digital copy of. It's just I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to take the disc out and put it in my player. I'd rather get them on machine.
Of course, you don't get the extras, which to me is quite important. The extras are good documentary, deleted scenes, all this. But
I've got a great one for you now. One that you're going to turn around and go, oh, yeah, right. Dickie Attenborough's Gandhi.
Oh, yes.
Richard Attenborough's Gandhi, right?
Whoa, Richard Attenborough. What a man. What a film.
I've had no end of comments on this on my Discord. One of them said, that Gandhi did one good film and you never saw him again. I've had those jokes, right? But I remember Smith and Jones. Do you remember the Griff Rhys Jones and Mel Smith?
I remember Griff. Yeah,
they did a piss take of Gandhi, right?
Yeah,
where they were showing, this director said he was going to do a version of Gandhi, and they were thinking about doing the theme tune, right? The theme tune to Gandhi.
Yeah.
And this director hired this musician to do it. It happened to be Griff Rhys Jones. And he had a ukulele in his hand. A ukulele, right? And he said, I've got this song in my head that I think I'm going to use, right? And he started singing the song, and it went, I was walking down the beach. I was walking down the beach late one day, feeling a little bit randy, when who should I see swimming in the sea? If it weren't me old mate, Gandhi. Gandhi, if it weren't me old mate, Gandhi. I'm going, bloody hell. Richard Attenborough, he must have been pissing himself, right?
Oh, dear.
The score in Gandhi is actually a bit subdued. It's a good film. It's a good actual score, actually. But I must admit, it's one of those films that not a lot of people talk about. Not a lot of people talk about at all. Yet when I first got my video recorder, it was one of those pirated films that we saw, along with E.T. and Rocky 3, I think. Those were the top pirated films with our video recorder.
Yeah.
What's that noise?
I think it's my son in the kitchen. It's got a bit smoky. I think I've knit a lamb.
Okay, if you'd like to close your ears just for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you bastard! Turn that bloody fire alarm off. We're trying to do a show, you little shit. We started late as it was, and now you're starting to bloody piss me off with beeping. Right,
I know, it's pretty awful.
That's enough of that. I just thought I'd get that rant out of the way. Well, he's gone off to. By the way, Ian Hill, the Rambling's next film is Backdraft. He's going to be watching Backdraft.
Is that all right? Yeah. You look hot. What the hell? Yeah.
Absolutely marvelous. Just to say thank you very much.
It's all right.
I've just
fire brigade don't need to be sung.
I was just saying your next film's Backdraft, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. But I was just saying to everybody, thanks very much for all the support for my mum. We now don't have the nurses anymore. We are by ourselves. It is a scary prospect. We are managing as best as possible. Tonight is the third night of us trying to get her to bed by ourselves, my sister and I. So I will have to go away and just check on my mother shortly. But I'm just so glad that I'm here. And then when, of course, my sister is here, it's a little bit easier because I can ask her to lock up. You know, she can lock the door and put the key through the letterbox and all of that stuff. So, you know, things will sort of like come to a better way, if you see what I mean. So that's what I've been watching, what I've been listening to. Yeah, a little bit of Elton John. I've been doing that. I've been listening mostly to the music scores of Theatre of Blood and The Man Who Haunted Himself, Michael J. Lewis. And there's a documentary on YouTube where he remembers writing the score for it. That's Theatre of Blood, by the way. And it's very interesting to watch. I really enjoyed that. And like anything, music comes around and I suddenly start listening to something and I go, why did I stop listening to that? You know what I mean? It's like that. And the other thing I've been doing is I've been adding my music to my public folder on my channel so that people can listen to, they don't have to search for the music, they can listen to certain tracks that I like listening to. Yeah. It's a public playlist, so you can hear different renditions of music that I've loved through the years. I just update it every now and again. There's not an awful lot there, but there's some stuff that you might never have heard of. Stuff by Georges Delerue, stuff by John Barry, stuff by, just some great stuff there. I think it's a great idea to do that. I think music sometimes shapes the personality of the person that you've been watching. So I know for a fact that Steve loves his music from the 60s. He said that the best era of music was the 60s. He grew up sort of in that era. I tend to go towards the 80s with the synthesizers, and the 70s with Rick Wakeman and so forth. But each to their own, isn't it? I've got a great respect for music that was in the 60s. There's some cracking tracks, and of course, my mum and dad were dating during the 60s, the very early 60s, and my dad was a teddy boy. He had that long shawaddy jacket with the brill cream.
Oh, don't mention that.
You know what I mean?
Shawaddy.
No, but you know what I mean. No. Those darts. All right, Darts. Do you remember Darts? The group Darts, right? They had the same sort of thing, right? The same sort of mock-up of long sort of like blue and black velvet sort of like jackets with the brill cream Elvis fringe front thing. So I like the 60s as well. So I think I'm gonna love listening to what you've been watching and listening to. And what has Tony York sent you this week?
Well, I've got some Tony York stuff, but
might do. Yeah, we have to get the Tony York. Hang on, we have to get the Tony York shit out the way first of all. The little bastard.
Go on.
No, the little bastard who has to get his bloody feelers in every bloody show that we're ever on. But anyway, carry on. Go on. Let's have it. Let's get it out of the way. It'll be like a plaster where you rip it off. You know what I mean?
Right. I watched on Prime Boxcar Bertha, which was I've never seen it, and I found out that it's a Scorsese's second film, and I really enjoyed it. It was very much of that era, and it's quite sort of early 70s. The violence is quite it's got the violence there, which was sort of reminiscent of that. And also that period in history, in American history, is always fascinating. It had like the Bonnie and Clyde kind of feel to it. Prohibition and all that stuff. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was really a good film. I liked it a lot. And seeing David Carradine, and I'm thinking, it must have been just before he started doing Kung Fu.
Kung Fu in the 70s,
so 1972, that film was.
Kung Fu is Kung Fu is like 73, 74, isn't it? Or somewhere around there. So it's not far off.
Quite near then. Yeah.
Far off.
Yeah. But he did look very younger, I think, than Yeah. Yeah, it was just interesting to see him. I thought it was, but I thought it was, the atmosphere was spot on. I suppose that's one of the qualities of Scorsese, that he just gets the period right and the atmosphere. It's absolutely fantastic. And then I've been watching this. You can do your Tony York run now, but there it is.
I've already done
Mutiny
it.
on the Bounty. Now there's 3 versions of Mutiny on the Bounty. There's one, I think, going back, is it to 1930s, something like that, and then there's a later one than this. This is 1962 with Mel Gibson, I think. But this one has always been my favorite. I mean, what a cast! You got Marlon Brando, Trevor Howard, who just is great in this role, and of course Richard Harris. But I mean, Brando is just so kind of almost a bit sort of weird almost in places. His character is interesting. He's just got this, because he's playing like this dandy aristocratic character, and it's an interesting performance. But Trevor Howard, oh, he's a real sod as Captain Bligh. He's perfect. I just look, Trevor Howard, what an actor. And then you've got Richard Harris. I mean, what a film. Absolutely loved it. And of course, it's based on.
I had to reminisce about Richard Harris because of Muckman in my blog this week. So, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Did you mention? Yeah, yes, that's it. Yeah, and I was shouting at you because you didn't include my favorite Richard Harris film, Cromwell. I kept going, why aren't you mentioning Cromwell?
But you see, Cromwell. I tried to put one historic one in it, and I did do one, didn't I? Did I say Camelot? Did I say Camelot?
Yeah. But you didn't do Cromwell, so I thought, Bayek, what's going on?
Yeah,
here?
But you see, I knew, because I know you love Cromwell, so I went, well, fuck you, Ian.
I know.
Up your ass. Because you're bound short to bring up on Wednesday, and I was right.
I mean, what a film. It's got like Alec Guinness in it as well as playing Charles I. It's a brilliant performance by both of them.
If you look at the question, I was only allowed to mention one.
Oh, anyhow, you could have given it an honourable mention at least.
Muckman Movies was such a bastard that he only allowed me one film from 4 actors like that. And you just turn it around and you just turn it.
Alec Guinness, what an actor with Richard Harris in brilliant performance, fantastic film. Anyhow, I'll forgive you. Just
have a rant at Muckman Movies. One film, you bastard. Right? That's like turning around. No, it's like turning around and me going up to him and saying, right, name one film out of your steel books that's your top one. One. Go, you've got 2,000 steel books, right? I just want one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know, impossible. I know, yeah.
Right. And you're just going to turn around and you go, up yours.
Yeah.
So carry on with your Mutiny on the Bounty. Go on.
Yeah, actually, just I'm sure I saw an advert today. Is it Jaws is getting another steelbook?
Oh, for God's sake, 50th anniversary, and I'm just going, for fuck's sake.
They're really milking it, aren't they? Yeah. Anyhow, what else? Yeah. Now these films I watched as well. There's Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh, yeah.
London Has Fallen. And these are really good action films. You just turn your brain off and
Yeah, they're
Marvel.
Get the Prime Minister or the President through the sewers of the underground all the way to wherever they got to get to in a safe house.
It's just wonderful stuff. It's non-stop action. And if Morgan Freeman's in a film, then I'm on board. That voice, you just can't help it, can you? You know, it doesn't matter how long he's in it. You know,
no, I just remember one scene. I think it was in London Has Fallen or something like that.
Yeah,
they got the I think they got the Prime Minister or whoever it was to the safe house, and the SAS squad came to the safe house, and he went, "Those can't be a proper SAS. Look, they're not even sweating. They just ran all the way here. There was no way that they could have got all the way here to this place, right, and not be sweating." And I thought, bloody hours, this is about as deep as it goes. Then Jesus Christ,
honestly, it's just good fun. You just switch your brain off and just enjoy it. I can see why they were popular. I enjoyed it. You can't help but enjoy it. But
didn't they make three? Didn't they do three?
Yes,
three.
There's another one. Is it Angel Has Fallen? That's Angel Has Fallen.
It was Olympus. Wasn't it Olympus Has Fallen?
Yeah. It's got Fallen here. We got Olympus Has Fallen. That's the first one. Then this one, London Has Fallen, and then I haven't got the other
Angel.
One. Is
Angel
Has Fallen,
right,
2019.
I don't think I've seen Angel. I know I've seen London, and I know I've seen Olympus.
Yeah. Apparently they were on about doing another one, but nothing has happened yet. They did come out with it. I was reading, but I haven't heard anything. I don't know if they've scrapped it or what have you, and had problems with script. But the word definitely.
It might be that he's getting a bit old now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that might be a big thing, isn't it?
You know what I mean, I love Children of Men, and this is where one of his very young films.
Yeah.
And apparently that was all over the news the last couple of weeks. It said BBC Two showing one of the most underrated science fiction science fiction ever made, right? And I must admit, it's a great film, right? And people forget that he was in that, and it is a great performance by him, you know.
Yeah. Well, I just enjoyed them. They're just I was surprised, and I suppose the effects are quite good. I mean, all these CGI effects, and they're really quite good. You don't
I'm just
feel
gonna,
that they're.
I'm just going to check on my mum. All right, for a minute.
Yeah. Okay. It's all right.
I'm just going to check. All right. Won't be a minute.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Those were really very enjoyable. There was just something about them, and anything with Morgan Freeman in, it's great. The voice and everything, you can't help but love it. So what else? Let's see. Yes. I've just done a video. It's coming up next Saturday. Actually, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I'm ahead. I'm well on form on my Star Trek collection, and I was going through my Star Trek collection. I've done part 1 anyhow of it, and I saw this in my collection, and it just thought, oh God, I'm going to watch that. And this is where they put Best of Both Worlds, part 1 and 2 together, and you just watch it like a whole film together. It's great. I mean, Patrick Stewart as Picard just excels in this. It's a nice addition as well. This look at that. Look at all that embossing on there. Absolutely loved it. I didn't get them all. They did that with a few of the 2-parters, and I think even a 3-parter. They put them all together. But this is it's so iconic. Star Trek with the Borg, and his performance as Locutus there is when he gets bogged, and when you're thinking of Star Trek Next Generation at its height, it's when you see that, you just see that image,
what shit,
and you think, wow,
what shit is he talking about now? Then come on, what shit is
this shit? Because I'm doing my Star Trek collection series, and I saw this and I thought, oh, I've got to watch this again. It just brought back so many great memories, and they stuck these together and made it into one. I loved it. What can you say?
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, what a performance!
Yeah,
the
Locutus, the introduction of Locutus. Yeah, the best of both worlds, part 1 and 2, isn't it?
That's
End of
right.
season
Best
3.
Of both worlds.
End of season 3, beginning of season 4.
Yeah. And I remember watching them from season to season, and it was in the days when it ended on a cliffhanger, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and it was all that wait, the long waiting for it to come on.
The thing about it for me, Ian,
amazing,
is that I live near an Army Air Force base, and my friend worked on the arcade machine at the BX Center. I saw that being broadcast at the same time as America saw it.
Oh.
So you can imagine how long I had to bloody wait to see the next episode of it. Like a year and a half or something. You know what I mean? It was like, you bastard.
Yeah.
Because most, if you remember rightly, most people were getting pirated copies that were really, really shoddy quality to watch of Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah. And it went on and on and on, because that end of season 3 episode really took off, and everybody then wanted to watch all the episodes.
It did, yeah.
Otherwise, people were like in two minds about Star Trek: The Next Generation, because the second season had a couple of good stories.
We forget that. You're right.
Yeah, the second season had a couple of good stories. I mean, obviously, the introduction to the Borg was at the early part of the season 2 with Q. He basically, Q. He threw them, didn't he, so far out.
That's right.
Basically, they now and the cliffhanger to that was the Borg now know you're out there, so watch your back. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what I liked about it, if you go right back to the last episode of the first season, we see the Romulans emerging. Apparently, there'd been no contact into neutral zone, and there's like that threat there. But they're, in a way, referencing the Borg coming, because they're seeing that there's a threat there. And this is why the Borg is such an important impact on the series. It was incredible. You see, when you watch this kind of Star Trek and you think, what has happened to modern Star Trek? It's just lost that wonderful ability that they had in terms of acting, production, stories. You see this and you think, wow, this is just so good, the quality. And now it's not like that. It's sad. You've got a product here that is, brilliant. And why can't they replicate that nowadays? You thought they would be able to, but obviously they can't. It's very sad that. So anyhow, I've gone on. I've got that video coming up. Part 1 is coming up next Saturday, not this Saturday. And then I do the music, and it had to be, of course, this, which was a gift from you. This is something I absolutely loved. It was spot on. It's exactly what I want, because I've been going through the new remasters of Elton John. I've been buying a few that have come in, and this is just rounds it off nicely. I'm going to get some more at remasters, but it's just perfect for my collection. And this is it's a 3 CD version, and it's fantastic, brilliant. I just love it. Perfect. You did a good job, lad. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you as well. Really kind.
I forgot I had the hardback book edition of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've got the same three CD, the same CDs in the bloody hardback book edition. What have I got this one for? So, it was an obvious choice, really, to send it to you.
Yeah, it's an impressive collection. That it's perfect, isn't it? It's just I love it.
You think of a person that's got a body of work as big as that, and you think to yourself, how the hell do you shut it down to 3? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I know, and there ain't many artists that you can do that. The only one I can think of, well, there's, I suppose you'd say Beatles and Rolling Stones, but is David Bowie. They're the only ones that I would put up against. Who've got that body of work. Yeah.
Well, you got Kate Bush, but she didn't have anywhere near the body of work of those two.
Kate Bush, I like Kate Bush. Is such an interesting artist because, who could believe that she had such a massive following amongst prog rock people. Prog rock people absolutely love Kate Bush. She wasn't your ordinary artist. She was something very different, I think, and it's brilliant. Anyhow, I could go on about Kate Bush for a long time. Let's get on with the comments.
Yeah, hang on, just a minute. Hang on. I need to say something. Tony, you're a bastard. No, Tony, you're a bastard. I send one thing to Ian, and you think, oh, here we go, look. Let's have a rant at Delboy, right? Because I send something in the post, right, to Ian, right? I don't do it like you. I ain't sending boxes and boxes and boxes and causing the postman to break his back sending stuff, right? Mine's once in every 4 months or something, right? 4 months. Not like you, got a standing order with the post office. That's, I'm surprised you haven't got shares in stamps or something, right? The amount of stuff you're sending through the post to this guy. So, up yours, your ass. Right, now you can start talking.
There, we've had the Delboy rant. Yeah, that's the spot there. We've had the rant. We've just got one more spot, but we'll get round to that when it comes. Anyhow, we have got here, let's see, Frank, all the same sleeping? No, we was just as we were. Cy Robson says, evening, gang. And then we've got Steve's Gaming. Hi, guys. We are just over 2 series into When the Boot Comes In. But really, really loving it. James Boland never disappoints. It just confirms again he's my favorite actor of all time. Yeah. That series is that in the 70s, I would imagine.
70s, yeah.
Yeah.
It shows I think James Boland, who's a person who's just come back from, is it the First World War? It's between the First World War and the Second World War. Yeah. And he's going, and I believe it's supposed to be a show showing people about class during that period of time.
Yeah, the class difference. Yeah.
And all I remember about it really is the song, you shall have a fishy on a little dishy when the boat comes in. Little dishy.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah,
I think it was about a family that actually did have a fishing business. I think that's what it was about. It was all run by the brothers.
Yeah,
but James Boland, if I remember rightly, did shine. He did shine in that show. I mean, it was it's almost like it was made for him. You know what I mean? It was.
Was it after the First World War then, or before First World War?
I thought it was after the first and before the second. So basically, that period of
because
time.
It's a massive period because the First World War changed everything, and the class system and all that. Quite an amazing period in British history. How things changed. So we've got Cy saying, "Send my regards to Mrs. Dell."
I have done. She's watching Coronation Street at the moment.
Yeah. And then we've got Tony saying, evening, Ian and Dell. Bet you're sorry, Mr. puking. Won't be able to see your blog, Del. Hope your mum's okay. Oh yeah, because of your Russian protests. Puking. That's a good one. Yeah. Sai says, did anyone see the trailer for Weapons? It's the new A24 film. It looks really interesting. I've not seen that trailer. No.
A24, they really are. They really are coming. They are an up and coming. I mean, A24 have been doing some fantastic stuff. Really, I keep seeing
they've
their
produced a lot,
everywhere,
haven't they?
you know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Weapons
a
myself.
lot.
No.
Yeah, the only one I saw was that Warfare. I saw a trailer of that, and that was it.
Yeah.
Um.
By the way, Steve's corrected me. Steve's corrected me. It wasn't around the fishing industry, but it is based between the First and Second World War.
Yeah,
and it is.
Yeah,
it is about class. I do get the things mixed up. It's only because it's got that stupid song at the end. You should have a fishy on a little dishy and all that.
Yeah, and yes.
That made me think it was the business was about a fisherman.
Now here we are. I have a 4K Amazon special edition in a slipcase of Gandhi. Must get around to it. Right. I didn't know it was on 4K. Anyhow, with the talk of Gandhi, I always find it amazing that the Sir Ben Kingsley plays Gandhi, and also the bad guy from Sexy Beast, two completely different characters. Yes, that's right.
And it was an unusual choice to have him in Species and a number of other films. You know, you just didn't expect him to be in those sort of films, but there you go.
Is he still with us?
Yeah, and I think he shines in Schindler's List. You know, I think he's in Schindler's List.
But even that's a few years ago now, isn't it?
I mean, wasn't he the Jew accountant that Schindler relied upon?
Yeah,
to keep
he is. Yes. Oh, yeah. He's an important part of the film. Is Ben Kingsley? His character is very important in the film. Ian, your son's burning the house down. Oh yes, thank you.
Do you know what?
Tell him to get a takeaway. It's safer. I like that.
If it had happened, all of those Tony DVDs that had gone up in smoke. What a shame! All those DVDs melted.
Actually, it may not have done because there's quite a lot here, and it might not have got into this room. So those DVDs in there, it's on my Blu-ray and 4Ks. Oh, so that would be awful. Right. Instead of a takeaway at the door, usually it'll be the fire brigade. Thank you.
I told you you were filming Backdraft 2. I told you. Well, I was telling everybody.
And then we've got here is you haven't had a rant against him yet. It's Jamie. Saying, hey up, chaps. Hello, Jamie. Muckman Movies, thank you. And he says, I thought he was in Spacemaker. Oh, God.
Actually, I'm closer to having a pacemaker than Ian. I've got a stent, haven't I, me?
Yeah. So. Oh, yeah. Well, you've had a stint, haven't you, put in your
stent
area, haven't you?
I'd have liked it if I'd have liked it, right? With all that bleeping going, that you pulled a pen out your pocket and you said open channel D. Now there's a line that people have got to think, what's he talking about? And I'm not going to fill anybody in, but open channel D. Work it out yourself, people of a certain age. I think Ian's got it.
We'll see what happens in comments. See what happens in the comments. And then Tony says, love your Hammer backdrops, Del. Recognize most of the images, actors and directors, etc. Any idea who the cloaked character is? Doesn't ring a bell with me.
Do you know what? When I first saw that hooded character, because I was looking myself, isn't that one of the? Didn't Hammer? I know Amicus did most of the anthology ones. Didn't they? Hammer though do at least one anthology film where it was a group of stories, and didn't it have a hooded skeleton character in it that told story? You know, that kept 5 people to tell stories. I know Amicus did most of them, but
Amicus. I don't know if Amicus did as well.
Amicus did. They did loads.
I'm trying to think.
They did loads. By the way, my sister's knocked on the door, so I'm going to have to get my mum into bed now. So I'm going to have to just sort of like leave you to talk for a little while. I'll
carry on with.
I have to say, even I am flummoxed on that character, that hooded character. It's holding some sort of like books or tablets of things. I'm not quite sure. I have to say, be good to know.
Yeah.
I have to say, but I won't
I'm
be
sure
long.
somebody might know. Yeah,
I won't be long.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit then. Bye. Right, he's gone now. Okay, so let's carry on with the comments. Evening, Jamie. That's a good one. Pacemaker. Thank you. Yeah, God, it does feel like I need one, I think, sometimes. Keep me going. And then we've got Jamie left there. And then, read Tony, says Jamie again. And then we've got Stephen Moles. Good evening, Ian and Delboy and everyone in the chat. Welcome, Stephen. Brilliant. And then Tony says, I have Boxcar Bertha on a DVD, Ian. No surprise there. So you're not going to get shouted at by anybody. Yes, Delboy would be ranting away about that. I was surprised. I just really liked it, the period piece that it was. I thought it was great, and it was on Prime. So I forget about Prime. I've got Prime and don't really often check on what films they've got on there. Sometimes they have some decent films. I noticed, and I just saw that and I thought, well, try that. It was worth it. It was definitely worth trying. But yeah, they do have a lot of films on there, but some of them I'd already had. And they had one of my all-time favorite films, I noticed. They had The Dead Zone, which is my favorite, one of my all-time favorite films. The brilliant film that is. Anyhow, I'm going about The Dead Zone all day. And then we've got Jamie saying, hi, Stephen. And then Sai saying, I'm having a double bill at the pictures tomorrow. Thunderbolts, followed by Sinners. Really looking forward to Sinners. I know Sinners, there's been a lot of talk about Sinners.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what your views are on it. I've heard some people being a bit more negative about it now recently, more than initially. There was a lot of positive things about the film. So it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are, Si, on it. And I hope good, because it's been good to have some films that people are really excited about, And Thunderbolts, of course, is a new release, isn't it? Is it this week? Is that out? So that'll be good. Hopefully Marvel will have something good now to show, because again, I've just been pointing about negativity. This could be a film that people might feel more positive about, which will be great, I think, to see. Any thoughts, Delboy?
Just to say, my sister said give her 15 minutes because she's got to wash, help my mum wash and get changed. So
Yeah.
I've got about another 10, 15 minutes. When it comes to
Yeah.
Thunderbolts, I think it could be, and I'll tell you the reason why. Thunderbolts is a group, is a team group like the Avengers, but they're not the Avengers. They're much smaller in popularity, even in the comics, right? From that point of view, so was Guardians of the Galaxy, and you saw what happened to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Nobody thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to do absolutely anything, and bang! And it might be that the reason that Captain America and all of those other films are doing so badly is because we remember how good they were pre, when it all ended at the end of season 3, if you see what I mean. It was the end. The Avengers basically come to an end, the original Avengers. So Thunderbolts could be a better film. You are going to see a different type of group, and it will be characters that you probably don't even know the names of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it might be good because of that. But then again, the Eternals did terrible.
I was just going to say, I mentioned that one.
And the Inhumans didn't do that much better. The Inhumans is actually considered to be the worst superhero TV series ever made when it came out.
Oh. Really?
That's saying something.
But everybody's been going on about, is it Madam Web and someone else has been the worst ones recently.
What you have to remember about those, Ian, is that's Sony. That's Sony, not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's them trying to keep the license of Spider-Man.
Yes, they're holding on to the Spider-Man thing, aren't they? License. Yeah.
You have to look at those as being totally separate, because Sony are just playing bastards by saying we want to keep the license, so we'll bring out any old tack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't do anything about it. As long as they bring out a film, they don't care. And of course, it makes them money because it's the gaming series of Spider-Man that's making them money. The Spider-Man on the PS5. I mean, it's made them billions.
Yeah. So, how long have they got this license? Is it indefinite?
It's indefinite. Sorry. They bought it for, they could have bought it for $100 for all I know, and that was it. It wasn't like you've got it till 2025 or anything like that. It was, but
so I think there was continue what they're doing.
I think Stanley did put in a clause, and I think it was something along the lines of you have to bring out a Spider-Man film at least one in 3 years, in a 3-year gap or something like that. I don't know. It's something that crops up every now and again because they keep speculating, when is Marvel getting Spider-Man back totally? Do you see what I mean? Because it's not only Spider-Man, it's all the characters that's in Spider-Man. We're talking about a huge roster of villains and characters and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so they can pick any obscure villain and just make a film on
make
that.
Make a film out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh well. It doesn't help, does it? Really, people's perception then of it.
But I understand. Muckman said, "Yawn, move on." And I do totally get it.
Yeah.
But we are talking to people that's more than Jamie.
Yeah.
I've said my little thing about it, and that is, I hope it's as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all, and it could be. But I tell you what,
Sinners,
I will big up Jamie. I will turn around and say I really enjoyed his review of Sinners. It got me really seriously thinking about going to see. I mean, I've ordered the Steel book, of course, instantly.
Yeah.
But I seriously wanted to go to the pictures, and then I remembered that I need to be with my mother. I can't leave. I can't have an evening off. Do you see what I mean? To go and see something, you know, I'm in that situation where I'm a carer for my mum. That's it now. I've got to plan 2 weeks ahead to ask my sister, can you look after her or something if I want to go and see an afternoon bloody film or something. So yeah.
I'll do some more things. Tony says, evening, Stephen. Jamie says, just be prepared for the story of two half narratives of sinners. Sigh. Watch my review for a heads up if you like. There you are. Plug your channel, Jamie. Yep, great channel, fantastic. And says he will. I will do. And Sim Moles said, been watching Predator today. A lot of people who do reactions never get the Billy on the bridge scene. The reason he stops is that he is a Native American, and they believe when a spirit comes for them, let's see the next bit. It looks like I can't find another bit. Oh no.
That might be just a full stop at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
The reason he stops is that he's a Native American, and they believe when a spirit comes for them. That's the end. I think it's a full stop at the end. You know?
Yeah. Right.
I do remember Billy's character quite well in that film. I mean, it was quite good, wasn't it? I mean, he basically sort of like sniffed the, you know, like put his fingers in the ground and all of this sort of stuff. He was very much a like a tracker, spiritual tracker, wasn't he, for them?
Yes, he was definitely. Yeah. And then Jamie says, Delboy, I can't believe Wild Geese wasn't mentioned for either Burton or Harris. I was fuming. You see, he's and I'm with Cromwell, and then he's on with Wild Geese. There you are.
Do you know what? Good.
Yeah. Actually, I know what you mean. If you've not looked at those and they're not prepared for them, it can be quite difficult sometimes to think on the spot. You know, you do sometimes need to think a bit, and it's not always easy, is it, to just do it off top of your head. Anyhow, Tony says, I have an Australian drama detailing Captain Bligh's subsequent career. Oh, following the Bounty mutiny. He was governor of New South Wales, and the corrupt military garrison overthrew him and placed him, it continues, under house arrest. He was later freed when a new garrison and replacement governor arrived. Well, fascinating that he carried on with what happened. Yeah. And of course, I'm also fascinated by the island, you know, all those descendants that now live on, is it Picton Island, are all descendants of those mutineers. It's not a very big population, I don't think, nowadays. It's not that big, but they're all descendants from those people who were mutinying Bounty. Fascinating. I love it. Rant. There you are. It's saying rant. And then we've got Danny Duke saying, hi, how are you all doing? We're doing all right. Are you okay, Danny? Those Fallen films are great. Brain-free fun. It's true. They are. You just sit back and amazed how brain-free they are. But, you know. Danny says, hi, Si. And then Jamie says, not seeing any of the Olympus views. The reviews have always put me off. I won't be too put off by them. It depends what you want. They're action films. They're not going to be, you know, great, anything deep or anything. They're just a bit of fun. And they're all right. They're good. They're good at what they do in those films. And, I enjoyed it, you know. And Sai says, Danny Jukes, hi matey. Angels Has Fallen was awful, was it? Oh, well, I've not seen that one.
I haven't
so
seen. It's the one I haven't seen, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it did get very bad reviews, which is a shame. Because I think it's the same cast. I think it's the same cast again. Anyhow, I don't know. Anybody know a bit more about it? But yeah, I do agree, Stephen. I think they took it one film too far. Oh, right, yeah. So I think general opinion is quite negative on it. Everything has to be a trilogy. Ah, the trilogy. Yeah. That's what they always think. Yeah.
Ever since
they
the
want a
future
trilogy.
and a few others, really.
Yeah, but then of course nowadays they say that, but then they go and make another one after the trilogy, don't they? There seems to be a thing.
Yeah.
The trilogy is not as. White House Down with the Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx was a good film. Oh, I don't know that one. Because Olympus is the same thing. It's the White House. Was that then a different company who made that? Yeah. Sorry, I'd not been around, being sick sometime and sleeping off. Well, I hope you're feeling a bit better. And thanks, Danny.
Nice to see you back, Danny.
Soon. Yeah.
Nice to see you back.
Yeah.
Don't ever have any more time off, you bastard. Right, anyway, carry on.
Danny, oh, you're improving now, Danny. Yeah, it's good to see you, Danny. Symbols, I watched A Working Man starring Jason Statham last night. In my Jason Statham voice, I'm a working man. I don't know. Do you know something? I've got a confession to make. I don't think I've ever seen a Jason Statham film. I don't think I have.
You're
sure
joking.
I haven't. Yeah, no, I'm not joking. Unless he's in anything that I've not really noticed. He's not. What films is he more famous for then?
I knew you were going to come out with that, and I'm trying to think myself, but I know that I've seen no end of them.
Yeah.
Hang on.
He's a bit like Chuck Norris. You know, you can name one Chuck Norris film, and I'm stuck without rest.
I mean, obviously, last year he did The Beekeeper, which is a fantastic film.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah,
but you know, before then he did things like that what's it called? Crank, is it? I forgot what it's. It's the one where his heart's gonna give out any minute.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Anyway, he did things like The Mechanic and The Fast and the Furious, and he's done. Oh, I don't know.
You see, I've never seen any of Fast and Furious. I know
he's been in. I think he's been in a few Expendables, and he's been in.
Oh yeah. So he's been in that kind of film at the end.
Yeah, he's done those.
I've never seen any Expendables.
He did that film that I didn't really like much, The Meg and Meg 2. You know, that big shark thing.
Oh, he's in that, is he? I've never seen them as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. He did the trial. I'll tell you a film that you've seen. That's Ghosts of Mars.
Oh God, I've not seen that for years. That's a long time ago. I can't even remember Ghosts of Mars. But he's in that, is he?
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
You've definitely seen that.
That's a long time. Yeah, I know. I ought to actually watch, because everybody really puts that film down and says it's awful, isn't it? Is it as bad as?
I tell you what, I really loved I really did love the Beekeeper film. I thought that was a great film.
Yeah. Right. He says, is it a Beekeeper sequel? I don't know. Cy Robson, no, a different film. And then it's thumbs up there. And then I watched Donnie Yen's new film as well. the Prosecutor, which is good. That's all the action stuff.
Yeah. I better go and check on my mum again, so I won't be long.
Okay, yeah. Martial arts stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Steve Moles, Sarah, I've heard that he might be doing a sequel to The Beekeeper sometime in 2026. Right. If it was a success, then I would imagine they'll be doing one. Yeah. What's the that Dell's been sending again, Ian? What's the That's my rant over. He's gone. He's gone. He can't do that right now. Yeah. I like it. I like it, Tony. Yeah. He's gone though. He can't appreciate your rant. Yeah. Tony, you need to have a rant about Delboy sending Ian something. Let him know how it feels. Exactly. Well, when he comes back, yeah, perhaps we should have a rant about him. Well, you should know. Tony trying to thank you, and then great minds think alike. Sigh. There. And then good laugh there. And then he says, I'm waiting for Delboy to say, now, when are you going to send me something, Ian, you bastard? Yeah, I know. It's his favourite word. The bastard bit. Yes. How many times does he say that? I don't know. I watched the classic Walter Hill film, The Warriors, this week. Great film. Love the score too. He's not here probably to talk about the score. I don't know the score. The film I saw years ago. Yeah, I always show my age, you see, don't I? But I don't remember. I never take much notice of film scores in those days. It's only recently that I've started to take more notice of film scores, but that's one of those films, isn't it? It's I know it got a release, did it last year? A new release. Was it even a 4K version? Could have been. I didn't get it, but yeah, I know. I think it's had a new life. It probably had a collector's edition as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, that's my contribution to it. I can't mention the score because I don't remember it. Wait a minute. I love Jerry Goldsmith. We've got that blooming mention, Jerry Goldsmith. You can pay me later, Delboy. Well, he's gone. He can't hear it. Yes, he's not heard the mention. He'll think we haven't mentioned it. We'll pretend there's nothing going on. No fishing business is when the boat comes in. It's based around a mining community, and yes, it's set between the wars. Yeah, it would be. I do vaguely remember it on the telly. The historical part is fascinating. Yeah, a mining community. Always going to be interesting. The workers, the unionizations, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. What my movies? Don't say A25 are up and coming, Delboy. They've been belting out fantastic films for years now. There, you've been told, Delboy. Yes. Yeah, they have. I agree, actually. A24 have been fantastic. There's not been many misses. Though I must admit, Opus I didn't like at all. I thought it was overblown, and there's a lot. And I should have liked Opus, but I just didn't like it. Just didn't get on with it at all. Yeah. And some people ate A24 for some reasons. Yeah, I don't know why they ate it, because they've produced so many good films. I don't understand that. Tony says, did a double watch of the first two Omen films last night. Great not him again, Jerry Goldsmith scores for brilliant. Let's talk about the films. The films are brilliant. I love the first two Omen films. I love the third one. I think the third one's really good as well. I like them. It's a pity they had that fourth TV one, because then we could say it was a trilogy. I don't count the fourth one. It's pretty awful. I think that's a great trilogy for me, the Omen trilogy. Love it all. Brilliant. What can I say about that? And then both, he says, yeah. I may watch that later tonight, Jamie. I love the final conflict over Damien. Yeah, that's it. I was thinking it's Sam Neill, isn't it, in the final conflict? I think I loved Final Conflict. I love them all. I think, in fact, you could sit down and watch those three films. I think it's a great trilogy. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, you got Gregory Peck in the first one, and then you got William Holden in the second one, and you got Sam Neill in the third one. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Sam Neill's performances, I think it's great. Brilliant, love it. I could say that was one of my favorite trilogies, definitely. Just forget about the fourth one. Have you seen the first Omen yet, Tony? Oh, I forgot about the first Omen. Do you know, I need to get that. I loved it. I got a download of that, and I thought it was brilliant. It went right up to the Omen film, didn't it? Great period. It captured the period really well. I thought it was great, the first Omen. Imagine you could watch First Omen on its own. It's brilliant film. Absolutely loved it. And that didn't always work, does it? You don't always expect these kind of films to work. But I thought that worked well. Was that UFO Channel D? Tony says, haha. He's not here to go on. Yes. So yeah, thumbs up. No, you're not yet, Jamie. And I love the first Omen connects the original Omen. Yeah, I think that was spot on. It did. That's why I loved it. I must get a physical media copy of that first Omen, because I think it is out on Blu-ray. Yeah, it's worth adding to collection. It was so good. It reminded me, like, I know, like, a lot of people slammed it, was Exorcist Believer, and I really like that as well. Exorcist is perhaps one of my all-time favorite horror films, and I think it's just a masterpiece. But yeah, with The Omen, I always put The Omen, Exorcist, and Suspiria as my three absolute brilliant films at the top. Suspiria I could talk about, but I won't. God, I love Suspiria. Yeah, I think it's great that it does that. I was going to binge watch second season of Squid Games, but this YouTube ramblings thing I've heard about has got in the way. Netflix subscription ends Friday. You'd have to be going down. I've heard of the Squid Games. I think actually I did watch the first season when it came out. I somehow downloaded it, but I don't know whether I'd be that bothered to watch a second season of it. I don't know, but you'll have to get watching it if you ain't got a long Friday. I watched Havoc on Netflix last night. Some decent action sequences from director Gareth Evans, who made the Raid films. Not as good as those two, though. All right, yeah. I mean, sometimes I wish I had Netflix, but it's the cost, and after I'd watched a few that I wanted, it wouldn't be good value for money. That would be a problem. Yeah, I'd want to cancel subscription probably, but that's why they say get it on the free trial, don't you? But I can't be bothered doing all messing about and fiddling. But yeah, there's a fantastic fight sequence in a nightclub. That's brutal. All right. I enjoyed Havoc. Some great action sequences. Jamie says, if it wasn't for Florence Pugh, I wouldn't have bothered in the slightest about Thunderbolts. Yeah, Florence Pugh, she is always worth watching. Always. What can I say? Actually, I might agree with you because he's not here, but I just thinking another Marvel film. Can I stomach it? Maybe I could do with this. I don't know, but I'm just like that. I tried again to watch. I've got Deadpool in my collection, and I'm thinking of trading it in when I go into town next because I watched it and I thought, am I really enjoying this? And I thought, no, I'm not really. It's predictable. It's bored. I was getting bored with it. Yeah, that's it. I was getting bored with it, and it was all being so smart and funny and that, and I wasn't laughing that much. Maybe it was me with my mood, but I don't know. I just didn't get it, and I thought, do I want this in my collection? I'm not sure, so I might take it in and get some better that I'm going to enjoy, because I can't see myself watching it again. I really can't. I just when you're bored of something, but everybody rates Deadpool. Deadpool is considered really good. People rate it, but I was bored with it. I was just bored with this bloke making all these quips and thinking he was funny, and I just didn't like it that much. I surprised myself really. And my instincts were right. I mean, I remember watching it for the first time. I think it was all right, but not overwhelmed with it. And now I know I don't like it. I just really don't like it much at all. So I think I'll be going next time I manage to get into town. I'll take that with me. Get rid of it. Yeah, I know he won't agree. He'll make excuses for it, but that was for me, just my opinion. So I know they had that Wolverine one, and Wolverine's such a popular character, and then I suppose everyone thought, "Oh, great with Deadpool." No, thanks. No, thank you at all. But it has nothing to do, nothing on the Red films. Oh yeah, the Red films, yeah. But I love her. Oh, yes, she's good. Yeah. Agreed, Si. Florence Pugh, yes, we would. Oh, yes. Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. Yeah, I've got that. And yes, what can you say about her in Oppenheimer? Yeah. Bored of Marvel now, Delboy. Move on. Yes, you tell that bugger. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, get rid of her. Oh, bugger. We're fed up of it, aren't we? And you're, yes, yeah. He's not here to go mad, is he? But the sleep factor's gone in, yeah. No. I think that Sony needs to release a Spider-Man related production every 5 years to maintain the license. Oh, 5 years. All right. Right. Jamie says, only joking. Yes, I'm sure. I'm bloody missed out on that Steelbook, Delboy. Hopefully, you'll receive 2. Yes, and then he'll send it to you. But we'll see what happens. That Steelbook will be amazing if they emboss it in the obvious places, Delboy. There you are. Yeah. And then we've got Steve's Gaming. saying, sorry, I've got someone keeps popping up there. Yeah. Del, today is the 30th of April, the sad anniversary of the loss of Roland Ratzenberger at Imola, 1994. Were you a fan then, or did you start watching later on? I have no idea who that is. I'm sorry, I can't answer it, but it's for Delboy. Anyhow, I'll try and come back to that. I'll try and remember, and you can ask him then. But I'm sorry about that. And we've got Tony here saying, Pitcairn Island bounty hunter. Yeah, there was a lot of controversy at one time over abuse on the island quite a while back, I think. Yes. Now I read that, and there was a lot of terrible things that happened on that island. A lot of sexual abuse and really awful things. Yeah. And I think that shadow still hangs over it. I say it's only a small community. I'm sure the figures that I read, it was about 23 people. It's that small, but the reputation is pretty bad for that. Yeah. In fact, I think there were criminal proceedings that went ahead about that. Yeah. Let's have a look. And then he said, it's 30 years since Ratzenberger. Wow. Right, here we are. Let's get back to question for Delboy.
I'm just going to be 5 minutes, fellas. And
okay, I'll come.
My sister's just basically, waving goodbye to my mum and all that. Just having a
little
chat.
I'll give you that question when you come back. It's from Steve's Gaming. But
let's have a look. Hang on. It's 30 years since Ratzenberger. Ratzenberger, he's a Formula One driver. Oh, yes, it's his anniversary. It was dead.
He said, "Look, that's your question."
I'll answer. Yeah, it's his. Yeah, he died at the same time as Senna, nearly on the same track. Yeah, okay. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay, we can talk about it then. Right. Okay. So I had no idea it was anything to do with Formula One. So I don't follow it. So I don't know. Steve Gaming says 31. Hi, gents and all. Hello, wee Bob. Hello, Bob. Welcome to the channel. You see, he's just gone, but he'll be back. Welcome to the channel. And as he said, Danny says, try to be here, Del. And don't own any Statham films. Seen a few on TV. Yeah, I know it's bad, I suppose. I should have seen something of his, but I haven't. I suppose it's just something that I've just not bought or bothered to watch. There's not enough time, and sometimes you just want to watch things that you know that you're going to like or have an idea that you like. Though it is always good to discover new films, always good to that. But sometimes actors can persuade you one way or another. And Jason Statham is not an actor that I would suddenly think, oh, I've got to watch his films. But if he popped up in a film, then that's how I would see it. But he's not somebody I would go out of my way to watch. But he has got a following, It's like Chuck Norris. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch Chuck Norris films, and it might be I might enjoy them. It's just one of those things. But if he popped up in a film that I was thinking, oh yeah, I'd like to see that, then that would be great. It's all a matter of working out your time and what sort of films. There's so many films, and I like to watch older films as well. Really going back in time, so it's fitting it all in. But there we are. It's like I do like a lot of films of the 60s and 70s and those sort of eras. I know that the 80s is a big thing as well, but I think the 60s, I'm totally fascinated by the 60s and 70s, of course. Yeah, it's just when you grow up, the 70s major part of my life as well as the 60s, really. Yeah. Oh wow, that's crazy. Maybe close to Senna's anniversary. Yeah, this is a Formula One thing. Here we go. That's tomorrow. Tony says, "Evening, Bob." And Transporter, that's one of Jason thingy's films, is it? Probably. Yeah, Statham. Yeah, Statham's cramp is completely crazy. Oh right, that's it. Yeah. I think I have Crank on DVD, but I've never watched it. Maybe it's time. Yeah, get out, crank it up. Yes. And then Weeble I like Jason Statham in Snatch. That's one of those Guy Ritchie films, isn't it? I've never seen that, but yeah, enjoyed Beekeeping, and Working Man was okay. I've seen quite a few of the others. I did think the Meg 2 was quite funny. Yeah, I think it got a lot of criticism, but what I heard in people's reviews, they were kind of thinking it was funny, enjoyably funny, I think. Yeah. Yeah, do you want to go back to that Formula One question?
Yeah, it totally eluded me.
Let me go back to it.
I was going, that's Formula One. But of course, yeah, San Marino, he died. He died on the San Marino track, and it was very close to Senna. It was a terrible weekend. I'm surprised that I forgot all about it, to be quite honest. But yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
It was a horrible time for Formula One. What did he put? Were you a fan back then, or did you start watching later on? I actually watched earlier on. I was Mansell. I was probably about, I think James Hunt had retired and he turned into a commentator when I started to watch it. So that would have been sort of like 80s, about 83. I was watching Formula One more and more. It was just something that I used to like because I used to like the cars and I used to like thinking about driving fast. And wouldn't it be great to be on a track? And the only cars on the track was about 20, was about 15 cars or whatever. When my dad would be on the motorway and we'd go on holiday, it would be like a bloody car park, trying to get to Bournemouth or Prestatyn or Cardiff. And there was these people driving around at 200 miles an hour on a track that's only got about 15, 20 cars on it. Well, it must be beautiful. Imagine going around them bends at that mile an hour. But it was an exciting time. But yes, full of death in those early years. Jackie Stewart obviously is a pioneer of getting safety into Formula One. As much as some people are divided about Jackie Stewart, you can't turn around and say that the guy wasn't a worthy champion, and B, a champion of getting safety into Formula One, because he saw so many of his friends die, on the track when he was racing. It was terrible. And even now in the 21st century, they put the drivers at risk with rain, and they say, oh, you got to go out. And you're going, what? I am, unless everybody in the paddock says I ain't going out either, then you only have to have one say, I'm willing to. And basically you've all got to go out, and it was mad, but yeah, fond memories of Ratzenberger, even though, to be quite honest, he didn't win much, but it was just a sad end. It was his death was sort of like overshadowed with Senna, but yeah, great memories. And sad thing that it's the anniversary of his death that we're sort of like talking about, to be quite honest. It's all I can say, really. Steve knows I love Formula One.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But have I missed anything film wise?
No, that was all. Oh, Tony got the answer to that question. UFO, he mentioned.
I didn't see it.
I've forgotten what the question
was.
was.
Open Channel D, you mean?
Yes.
That's the men from
Tony
Uncle.
said,
That's the men from Uncle.
Oh, he said UFO.
Don't you remember Napoleon Solo? He'd get his pen. He'd get his pen out.
Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah. Oh, right. Right. Let's have a look what else here. This might be a thing. Who would win in a fight between Jason Statham and Scott Adkins?
Oh, Christ.
I don't know, Scott Adkins.
I must admit, I'm struggling with Scott Adkins, but I always thought Jason Statham was trying too hard to be Bruce Willis.
Oh, right.
I always thought, to be really brutally honest. But I do. The funny thing about Crank, and I'm pretty sure it's called Crank, is it's mental. It's a mental film that if you wrote it down on a piece of paper, you'd say, I ain't making that. What's this shit? Yeah. It's all about him having to take cocaine every 30 minutes, otherwise his heart will give out and he'll die. He has to keep having adrenaline pushed into him, and he's trying to find the drug lords that killed him because they've stolen his heart in the second film. They've operated and took out his heart and put another one in. Right? I mean, it's mental. Mental. I mean, if you wrote it down, you just go, what? What's this? Right? But you watch it and it's strangely hypnotic. But the beekeeper, I was actually impressed by it. Actually, was a good film.
Yeah.
And that turned up. That was one of those films that showed up on Sky and at the cinema at the same time. And I saw it on Sky. And I actually liked it.
Oh,
I
right.
thought it was a good film. Yeah.
Now, don't seem to know Scott Adkins is, apart from Jamie, who was going to say it. So, Cyros says Scott Adkins, and Wee Bob Art says, I've never heard of Scott Adkins, but quick Google, and I don't think I've seen any of his movies.
I haven't Googled it. I haven't Googled it.
Bob. I don't know. But here we are. Jamie says, watch Avengement Bob. It's a great Adkins film. I've not heard of Avengement.
Sounds like a disease, doesn't it? I've got Adkins.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a.
I've got Adkins disease.
Yeah, and Adkins. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It does, doesn't it? I just go no. Yeah. I haven't got a clue.
There's not such a word, surely, as avengement, but it's made up. Yeah. And then Gary Daniels is a good martial artist. All right, martial arts. Yeah. And Scott Adkins is in John Wick 4. He plays the fat German gangster.
I have seen John. I have seen John Wick 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree, Si. Adkins would whoop his ass. Oh, crikey. Whoop his ass. Yes, sorry. And then Wee Bob says, there's a movie called I Think We're Alone Now with Peter Dinklage. It's quite a good movie about portraying solitude and sparse world as it is a post-apocalyptic movie. Do you know this movie? No,
yes.
I don't.
Yes,
but he does, of course.
I like Peter Dinklage, and I believe it's not that long ago that film came out. I mean, I've seen it once, and it was a thought-provoking film. I just know that I liked it. I haven't thought about it since. You know what I mean? When you think back at Peter Dinklage, he's done a number of things, you see, since Game of Thrones, which is where he's famous for.
Yeah, I've heard his name. I've never seen Game.
I mean, I told you, I think he was the one who played the guy from Fantasy Island. You know, what's his name? Something Villeneuve or whatever his name was.
Yeah, that bloke. Yeah,
it was a night with whatever it was, Verve, whatever it was. You know.
Yeah.
And he was good in that. You know what I mean? I do like the thing about these Solitude films is I like post-apocalyptic films anyway. You know how many I've seen. You know, I've seen Soylent Green, and I've seen the Planet of the Apes films, and I Am Legend, and all of those films. I love them all. And Solitude is something. Yeah. And ever since I saw The Twilight Zone with Burgess Meredith, playing, that librarian, and the world blows up, and then his glasses and he had time enough at last, it's called. Ever since I've seen that episode, I've loved sort of like post-apocalyptic films. Just love them.
Yeah.
It's not because Peter Dinklage did a great job. It's because I like them all. I think they're great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. But yes, I've seen it once, and I did like it. He's put there, look, it's quite a good movie. And that's what I would say about it. Quite a good movie.
Yeah.
I think it got quite a bit of press coverage, and then it died a death. It didn't get mentioned an awful lot.
All right. Here's another question for you. Further question. Do you have any recommendations for movies that revolve around solitude?
Well, like I said,
I mean, I kind of like Castaway films as well.
Yeah,
where somebody gets on a desert island.
Castaway is a brilliant selection.
Yeah, it is. I love it. Yeah, that's the kind of film I like. I like those kind of films. Yeah, when they get.
How many people came out of that film shouting Wilson? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that whole 5 minutes of watching a ball float away on the sea was so distressing for me when I was watching that film.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen Robinson Crusoe on Mars. I've seen Enemy Mine. I've seen all sorts of films through the years. I mean, but like I said, Solitude is something that sort of like is like my big brother. I was in Manchester 7 years, and I've never felt more alone when I was up there. So I sort of like recognized Solitude very early on and what it can do to you. Just there's lots of films that set out. There's a lot of films. I mean, if you look at The Martian, that's a bloke who's left on Mars. All of the NASA astronauts are on their way back home. He's got to survive on Mars for 18 months by himself.
Yeah.
Try and survive, grow potatoes on a planet. We've seen a lot of Solitude films. I don't know if I could name anything that would not be instantly known.
Yeah. Oh, I know one that's more recent. To me, it's Solitude because it turns into all sorts, but it's The Gorge, because these two characters, they're opposite. They've been put there, and they're like on their own, supposedly, and they build up a relationship, on these two. But have you seen The Gorge?
No.
Oh, it's a very good film.
Oh.
Yeah, I really like The Gorge, and that. The film is great because it is that kind of film. Then it has this sort of love story element in it, and then it becomes like a monster feature creature, sci-fi monster creature, and it's really good. It's got all those ingredients in it It's a very good film. Is The Gorge? Yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy. That's it. She's the one in it. She's really good. I really like her. I've forgotten who the bloke is. The name's forgotten. It's probably somebody quite famous, but yeah, I really like that film. But that's a modern example. But Castaway is, I think, a good one. Tom Hanks, yeah.
I mean, just jumping ahead to some of the comments, Ian. Cy says The Thing. Now, I don't know whether I'd count The Thing as Solitude. I mean, they are in Antarctic. You know, they are in a solitude type of environment, but they are a team up there of 4 or 5 or 6 people. Because you could then turn around and say Scott of the Antarctic then is a solitude film, but he went up as a team. They came down as dead. So but you have to ask yourself, they didn't start off alone, and they didn't, solitude.
You could argue another concept. You could say group solitude.
Group solitude, yeah.
A group of people who are actually cut off, and they're like in solitude in a way, aren't they? You could argue that, and that's just a thought that just popped into my head.
But I agree with Cy. Don't get me wrong. I agree with Cy, because it is they're in solitude because they are by themselves and there aren't that many people.
Yes,
and at the end there's only two. Yeah. There's only two of them. It's just that solitude.
And that last scene is
solitude to me. Solitude to me is Castaway. That's solitude.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
Yeah. But it's interesting because that last scene in The Thing is very powerful because it's a bit ambiguous. There's those two at the end.
Yeah.
And are they doomed? Is that the end for them? Or
as far as I'm
still
the way that I looked at it, they were doomed. That was it. There was nowhere for them to go.
It was the end.
Nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, there wasn't any hope of any rescue or anything. Yeah, that's how I saw it. But it could be open, but I think they tend to be doomed. It has a doom-like feel about it, I think. It's a very powerful scene. I find that as an ending very powerful.
So I do agree. What I was saying is, I do agree with Cy that it's a solitude film, but to me, a pure solitude film is more like Robinson Crusoe, is more like Castaway, is more, Enemy Mine is also got 2 people on a planet, but they hate and disgust each other. But at the end of the day, there's only 2 on the planet, and they ain't going to like each other because they're fighting a war. So that's solitude again. You know what I mean? You could look at it like that. But anyway.
Yeah. And Tony says, don't intend watching The Fourth Omen. It looks pretty bad when I checked on it. I agree. I've never seen it. I've heard that it's not very good. And I don't count it. I say it's just a TV thing because it went onto TV. And that's, because it kind of spoils the trilogy for me. Those first 3 Omen films. But of course, as we've said, they've done a prequel, haven't they? But I don't worry about it. The prequel is good, like I said. But that other one I don't count. I really don't count. Have you seen that awful?
I've seen all the Omen films. I was late to the game watching the prequel, and I was surprised that the prequel didn't get a 4K. If you remember rightly, it was everybody was buying it, and I was going, I'm holding on, I want a 4K.
It didn't get a release.
I finally gave in and went, I'll stuff it.
It's a good film. It's worth it. It's surprising. It's a good.
I suppose
you're always a bit wary about.
I have to mention, don't I, that Jerry Goldsmith, did the Omen score.
I know. We was waiting for that.
Oh, were you really? Oh, okay.
Yes,
I didn't know because
it's funny because
I was looking after my mum, wasn't
I? We did get a comment about it when you went away about Jerry Goldsmith, and I was telling them to shh, don't mention Jerry Goldsmith when he's around. But there we are. It's happened. We couldn't get through a thing without mentioning Jerry Goldsmith. There we are.
If you're going to keep dangling a carrot in front of me like I'm some sort of donkey, then of course I'm going to start mentioning it. And I mean, how can you not mention the Omen and not mention Jerry Goldsmith's score? He won a bloody Oscar. He won a bloody Oscar for it. I'm crying out loud.
Here we go. Go on. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Jeez, I mean, he won an Oscar. How can I not? Crying out loud.
Oh dear. Sorry.
As long as I've made him happy, honestly, as long as I've got Ian laughing, I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, your favourite line tonight made me laugh. Was the postman struggling to carry the boxes in the door? It was too heavy for the postman.
Yeah, Tony York with his bloody shares in post office stamps. You know what I mean? Jesus. I reckon he owns. I reckon he owns 4 post office sorting offices. I do.
Yeah. Jamie's saying, "Where did my Omen comment go?" Well, I don't know. Where did it go? Yeah. I'm just having a look further up here. I didn't see it. No. Well, it's gone. Sorry about that. You're going to think there's a conspiracy against you, aren't you, Jamie? That your comments disappear. I don't know. And then trivia: the guy who played the 5-year-old Damien in the first film was convicted of road rage a few years ago. Oh,
really?
Yeah, that's a nice trivial question. Yeah. I thought he was going to say claim it, and did he claim that he was possessed by the devil, that he was going too fast, or something that made him angry? Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the question? Have you got any distinguishing marks? Yeah, I've got a few numbers on me head. Yeah. Do you want to have a look?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That scared the shit. That'd scare the policeman away. Shit, I ain't looking at that bastard.
Yeah, it
you know, I like the devil.
Yeah. Oh dear. I said not heard of that one, Bob, but I do love Peter Dinklage, a great actor, fantastic in The Station Agent. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I didn't really get on with him in Pixels. You know, that game film, you know, where it was about Pac-Man and aliens were coming down and everybody had to win trophies. Yeah. And it had what's his name from Happy Gilmore? Oh, Adam Sandler. Yeah, Adam Sandler.
Oh, right. And
Peter Dinklage was in that. It had great special effects, but I wasn't that in awe with the actual film itself. It's a fun film. Don't get me wrong. Kids love it. Peter Dinklage is much better in other films. The Station Agent, I haven't seen. I haven't seen that one.
All right. And then we've got, let's say, Bob Hart saying, we'll have to look up that one, Muckman. And Jamie says, Muckman movies, with regard to Solitude film recommendations, The Red Turtle, Swiss Army Man, Leave No Trace, to name 3.
I've only ever heard one of them, and that's Swiss Army Man. I haven't heard of The Turtle.
I've heard that one mentioned. Yeah. I don't know the others. Yeah. Thank you anyhow for those, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie. You bastard. Right, go on.
And then Weibo says, cheers, I have to leave, no trace. The Peter Drinkage movie you mentioned above looks good for a quick IMBD check. Oh, well, that's good. Not sure if I've asked this before. Have you heard that there's a film called Ankle Biters? It's about midget vampires. I'm really intrigued by it. I bet it's so bad, it's good territory. Oh, yeah, I mean, that concept, midget vampires, it does sound bad, doesn't it? I've not heard of it.
Well,
no. But I like the idea.
I was in a zombie film called Apocalypse. And believe it or not, the director did a film before that. He's done loads of films, but he did one with Caroline Munro. Is that her name? You know, the one who's the Bond girl.
Yes, Emma one. No, she's known as.
He did a film in the same area that I live in called Cute Little Buggers. Right, it's called Cute Little Buggers. Right, it's about zombie rabbits. Right. They go around, and when they bite you, they turn you into a zombie. And you want to see these rabbits? They had to get puppetry rabbits to go around in the grass.
Oh, crikey!
And it's honestly, you can get the film. It's called Cute Little Buggers. And I'll tell you what, that reminds me of midget vampires. I tell you, these rabbits.
Yeah,
it was like puppetry with Watership Down. It was.
Yeah. Bonkers. Totally bonkers.
Cute little buggers, it's called.
Yeah. I like that irony. And then Bob says, sounds like the same category as Slaughterhouse. Oh, Slaughterhouse. James says, The Station Agent is quite possibly my favorite independent film of all time. Bloody hell, that's a statement. It's a wonderful film about acceptance and friendship with 3 amazing performances. Oh, wow. That's something to look out for then. The Station Agent.
Very much so.
Yeah. I will try to watch it this weekend coming, Boat says. Yeah. I've got to catch up with a TV series which I have on Blu-ray. Reacher, Tulsa King, The Last of Us, The Continental, The World of John Wick, The Penguin, Twisted Metal. I've just pre-ordered Fallout. That's a lot of TV time to watch all those. Well, there's a lot of series there.
Tulsa King is Sylvester Stallone, isn't it? The Last of Us, I've been raving about for the last 3 weeks. The Penguin was the surprise of the early year of the early part of this year, which came out at the same time as Marvel brought out the second series of Wanda, and it's much more a Goodfellas type film. The Penguin, which I bought it. I bought the Steelbook. Fallout I've pre-ordered as well. The Fallout I've pre-ordered as well. Fallout I think came out at the same time as I think Halo did. They did a TV series of the game Halo, because Fallout is a game. But I've ordered Fallout. I haven't seen Reacher myself, or the Continental.
Yeah, that's the John Wick spin-off, isn't it?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of that. That's there.
Yeah, I've heard it being mentioned.
I'm behind Ian with so much stuff because I'm looking after my mum.
I understand. It's fitting it all in. It's a TV series is always more difficult, isn't it, to fit in, even if you've only got 6 episodes. Can be quite difficult, unless they're quite short. If they were a sort of half-hour episode, you could probably do it easier. But
I find half an hour easier to manage. I have to say.
You can cram a few, and you can binge watch half an hour episodes a lot easier.
Well, no, it's just that if you have to rewind, if you have to rewind because you had to go and see your mum or something, to sort out what's going on. What I'm trying to say is it's very easy to get caught up and not get lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
An hour. You can't afford to lose the 20-minute, because the 20-minute that you missed is probably going to be referred back to at the end of the episode. You're going to go, what was that all about? That was because in the 22nd minute this happened. Oh, missed that bit, didn't I?
Something important. Yeah. That's true. And then we've got, as Tony says, another watch, Rage, 1966, with Glenn Ford and Stella Stevens. Ford plays an alcoholic doctor in Mexico, racing across the desert to get the antidote of his rabies infection. Sounds like a very good story.
That was on Legend TV about 2 months ago.
Oh, right. It sounds good.
Their car kept breaking down. They had to risk driving the car to the town where the antidote was going to be. And Stella Stevens said she had to come along. There was 3 of them at one point, and then the car broke down, and they had to get. There was no chance that he wasn't going to die before because if he was to start to walk, he would have died. You know what I mean? And, it's a good film, Rage, 1966. Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah. That sounds good, Tony. Jamie says. Tony says, I've never heard of it before, Jamie. Saw it on Amazon. It's an imprint release. I found it enjoyable. This is an interesting question.
I bet Tony fell off his chair then. He said, what? Delboy's seen a film that I've seen. Jesus Christ, what's going on? Right? I bet you any money that what I said is absolutely true. What I was saying, that that there was the car and it broke down. And all of that. Tell me that I'm not lying. I saw that. It was on late at night about 2 months ago on Legend TV. So there you
go. This is a difficult question, I think. What is the worst film and TV show you've seen? I mean, the worst film. I don't know. There's such a lot of bad ones that I've seen.
I can tell you what the worst TV one is.
What would that be?
I'm just looking it up because I know what the end of the TV series was called, but I can't remember what the beginning was. Yes, that's it. It was called Goodbye, Mrs. Noah. Beryl Reid.
Oh, right.
6-episode BBC comedy with her going off into space in a rocket. Bloody awful. Absolutely atrocious TV series.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. On YouTube, I watched these where they have these things with the worst TV series and shows. And I remember one, it said, they did an Adolf Hitler sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
A pilot. And
they've shown it, haven't they? They've showed bits of it, haven't they, on TV? The bits that actually
I mean, what a terrible idea. Somebody must have thought it was a good idea at the time, but crikey.
There's a number of pilots that Spike Milligan did as well that they can't show as well. He did these curry, something about curry and something or other or something. I can't remember what it was, but it's all because of his war background.
Yeah, the Daleks. I've seen the Dalek skit he does, which is it's quite silly, but it won't be allowed now. But the worst film, I don't know.
Well, it's got to be Condor Man, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you say Condor Man.
No, it's not. It's not Condor Man. I just did that to get a rise out of people.
Yeah.
No. Worst film. Oh shit. See, it's very difficult for me to find a film that's absolutely
really bad. But I mean, there's some films I can't remember that I've watched.
It's different. What I'm trying to say, it's difficult for me to find a film that's offended me so much that I put it down to the point where there's no redeeming feature in it whatsoever.
Yeah. But have you switched anything off and just been bored and not bothered?
I've never walked out of a cinema. I've never walked out of a cinema.
No, I wouldn't I'd never walk out of cinema. But at home here, if it's really bad and you can't, I just switch it off. I have done. I don't, not many, but you know.
Oh, I've got close. I mean,
yeah.
Take it like this. I still can't get over the fact that Exorcist Heretic came out. You know, I mean, it was
yes, everybody says you didn't manage to watch it all, did you?
That's what I'm saying. I did manage, and I still don't.
I wouldn't watch it.
I didn't
There's
understand
no point in watching that.
I still don't get the ending now.
Yeah,
and I don't want to watch it again.
But no, a lot of people won't even. They say it's so bad it's unwatchable. But you managed to get through it, did you?
Oh, well, it did back in the day.
Yeah, it's got what I can understand. It's got Richard Burton in it, hasn't it? And Richard Burton, a great actor.
But you know, it's one of those things. Even now, it's just I just don't get that film. It's badly acted.
Yes,
the story's convoluted, and I don't get the ending. So
yeah.
But even now, I'm stuck to say whether I think that's the worst film I've ever seen, because I've probably seen something worse than that. It might be hard. I mean, you know, but.
I mean, you can watch bad films and enjoy them for being bad, but one that's truly awful that you have to switch off, I can't think of any. I know films that I wouldn't watch, but I can't think of any films that are bad. Yeah, there's films that you wouldn't watch. You just think, oh, I'm not going to watch that. I know it's a waste of time, you know, from my viewpoint.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in I think it was the early 80s that I was watching Do you remember a TV series that introduced films called Movieola or Movie? Oh, I forgot. It had Brian Cox or whatever it was, or whatever.
Yes.
Movie Drone. Movie Drone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I remember. Yes, I remember him.
He said for years and years and years and years and years, people listed The Swarm as being the worst film ever made with Michael Caine in it. But he actually showed it that night in that slot, and I watched it and I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
But I've seen all sorts of interviews with Michael Caine afterwards. He was on Parkinson. He said, "Now you made a couple of stinkers, Michael." He said, "You did a film called The Swarm.
Yeah.
Didn't you get an inkling that these films were bad?" And his answer to that was, "Well, when I had 1,000 bees all shitting on me and with bee poo, I had an inkling that this was a bad film." Yes. He said, that film did pay for my mortgage and a number.
Well, there you are.
A number of other things. So, and of course, Jerry Goldsmith did the score to that film. I have to sort of say it. I mean.
But it's interesting how everybody mentions that Exorcist 2. So I think I've not seen it, but I'd say that would be considered the one of the worst films there is.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, but you can change your mind. You know what I think is bad, other people might enjoy, and TV shows.
I'd like to know if the re-release of it a couple of months back, did it sell out?
Oh yeah. There were people buying it, I think.
Well, there you go.
I suppose collectors, completionists would buy it, wouldn't they? I wouldn't.
Yeah,
Even if I was even as a collector, I wouldn't have that. What a waste of money. But
I didn't buy it. I know that much. I know I didn't buy it. So
yeah. So you didn't even buy it. And that's unusual.
I've got 16 copies of The Thing, and I still won't buy that film.
Yeah.
I've got about 16 copies of the film, The Thing. I've got it about 16 times.
I know. Yeah, it's one of your things. Yeah.
I mean, how many copies I've got of? I don't know. Let's have a think. The Thing, A Clockwork Orange. I've bought that a number of times. Blade Runner. I've bought that. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there are certain films I've just bought over and over and over again.
Yeah, I do that with Dune 1984. I've just
bought it's a good job there hasn't been that many times it's come out, then, isn't
it? Yeah. Oh dear. Right. Let's see. Sai says Danny Duke's worst film, Birdemic. And worst TV show, The Acolyte. Oh.
Well, that's the Star Wars thing, The Acolyte.
Is it? Oh, right. I've not seen
that's
that.
That's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I know nobody's had much positive to say about it.
It was bad. It was bad, but I tell you what, Si, you think that's bad? You go and see Goodbye, Mrs. Noah, and you tell me whether you think The Acolyte is worse. I'm telling you now, what a pile of pants shit that Goodbye, Mrs. Noah. Oh my God!
And then Weebo Mark says, I find it hilarious when Del emerges through his backdrop. Reminds me of a really old bad CGI. There you are. Bad CGI.
Well, it is bad CGI. That's why.
Yeah.
It's only, it's not green screen. It's just that software that basically thinks that you've got a green screen background.
Yeah. Stephen Wells says, "Sorry, Rob, I can't believe that they did a sequel to Birdemic. Biggest piece of shit I watched on the Tubi." Oh, right.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there was a film I saw called Attack of the Lederhosen and Zombies. Lederhosen. You can imagine zombies going around with braces and bloody shorts going around trying to kill people in the Alps.
Yeah. Lovely.
I mean, that's a bad film. I mean, my God.
Danny says, cool, Si. And then Steve's Gaming. I remember Sir John Young, Jackie Stewart, saying he counted over his career and 57 of his pals died. Just staggering. Yeah. It wouldn't be allowed today, but they just accepted it back then.
That's you think about Formula that. You're in Formula One. You're in it for about 10, 15 years, and 57 of your pals have died on the track.
Yeah. They wouldn't allow it, surely, you'd have thought.
I can only think of the Grand National as having. I can only think of the Grand National having as many deaths.
Yeah. Every year, the Grand National has loads of deaths, doesn't it? Of horses, quite a lot die.
Every year they try and make it safer, and every year they fail. If it isn't some jockey that's broken its neck or something, then it's a horse that's had to have its head shot off.
Yeah,
because it's collapsed or something. It's terrible.
Yeah, I doubt if there's been a Grand National race where a horse has not had that happen.
No,
I doubt if it's ever been.
You didn't hear about it. You didn't hear about it in the Red Rum days. Do you see what I mean? When Red Rum was doing it. But my dad always turned around though, and he said that the horses love to be exercised and they love racing. It's, that's what they're bred to do.
Yeah.
And it would be sacrilege to stop them because they do love it. They love going out.
Yeah, and they tried to. They've tried to make them less dangerous, haven't they? Some of these.
This is the thing they used to have. They used to call all of these traps on the race course named, like Breacher's Brook and all of this sort of stuff or whatever.
Yeah, the chair or something.
Yeah, the chair. To me, I just think, look, there's racing with a bit of danger element, and there's, oh my God, you're being bloody stupid now. Look how high this thing is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They either make the bloody thing so high that they then land in water the other side and nearly break their necks because there's water there or something. Because they keep combining things. Why don't you just have a couple of tall ones and then some small ones and all of that and some long ones? Why have you got to do something that's so dangerous they give it a name? It's almost like a roller coaster where they call it the corkscrew, right? You're going, oh shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go on it because even the name even scares you, right? You're going. These horses you got to remember they're racing for 5 miles in a space of around about in a space of minutes.
Yeah.
And they're exhausted at the end. That's why they're bloody. That's why they're being whipped to death at the end of the race course. But my dad always said, no, honestly, they do love the race. And I said, and I used to argue with my dad and say, I can't see how they can enjoy the race and then get shot in the head because they fell over. I can't see how that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But they're bred to race. They love it. That's what they love. What they look forward to at the weekend is getting on with their trainer and going for a race. They look for nothing better than that. And I used to go, okay, I beg to differ, but to me, I don't agree with fox hunting. That's the sort of thing I don't.
No, well, I think I suspect majority of people don't.
The Grand National is a betting thing, but they are racing and it is exercise. The fox hunting, there's no
point to it. Absolutely no point. Yeah. Well, it has been banned, hasn't it now? Fox hunting.
Oh, I still see in January 2nd or January 1st, bloody people in red coats going along the bloody road.
Really, it's still going around. I thought it had been banned.
Well, that's the thing, you see. I think that there's legislations that they can get round for it, but I've seen them. I've seen traffic being held up while the bloody horses are going along the road to go onto the interconnecting
awful
fields,
awful.
the opposite road.
They call it drag hunting or something. They drag something along, or I don't know, something like that. But those hounds are vicious, aren't they?
It used to be there. It used to be there to kill a vermin that had been killing wild stock on your farms.
Well, that's what a farmer would do.
Now it's a sport. Now it's a sport to scare a fox to its heartbeat is just about to die, and then let the dogs rip it to death, and then you carry a tail away as a trophy.
Yeah.
That to me is not acceptable, and I will never accept it. And I lived on a farm in the 70s, so
you don't do it as a sport. It's just wrong. I can understand a farmer with a shotgun, and the fox is trying to get into his chickens and what have you. That's different, but.
I used to go out with my uncle, and there used to be loads of hares that had. I don't know if people know this, but we used to have a disease out there, and it's still out there called myxomatosis, right? Which was a disease, which is a human created disease for rabbits, that made them basically have their eyes swell up to the point where they blew their eyes bloody. And of course, even your domestic rabbits can die of myxomatosis. It's a horrible way to die.
Yeah.
And we had to go out there and kill hares that had myxomatosis because it spread like wildfire amongst the whole of the rabbit kingdom. So basically, you had to sort of nobody wants to see a death like that, but that's what it did. Myxomatosis made your eyes bulge to the point that they exploded. That's what it did.
Wow.
And apparently that was humane in the 60s when it was designed, or the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
I don't see it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe as well that you'd have these people that were testing cosmetics on rabbits' eyes.
Yeah.
How could you
Putting
do
drops in
that?
rabbits' eyes and
Cosmetics.
stuff. Putting drops in the eyes of
Ah,
rabbits and stuff. Bloody hell.
yeah. Yeah. Right. Steve Moll says Scott Adkins ninja movies are good. They're that kind. Ninja movies. Yeah. Crank and Crank High Voltage. Right.
That's those two films, the John Statham film.
Crank was crazy enough. High Voltage must be even more so, I guess. Not seen it, Tony Hawk.
I tell you, High Voltage is just jack. It's just jack shit crazy. I tell you that film.
It. And then we've got here Sai saying the Crank films, bizarrely, remind me of. Oh no, you mentioned that awful film, a Serbian film, all to do with needing to keep his heart rate up. Oh God, Serbian film.
Yeah, if his heart drops to a certain level, then he dies. That's what it's about. Yeah. That's why it's called Crank.
Yeah.
I've not seen this Serbian film. I think you were the one who said, "I'm
oh
not
no,
you
don't want to." It's disgusting.
You said, "I'm not going to tell you what it is, Del, because I don't want you to see it, and you'll thank me for it."
Yeah, I don't. You can't unsee it. The problem with a film like that is, if you do see it, you can't unsee it. If you see what I mean, it's awful. Movies about solitude and seclusion. I have to say, The Thing. Yeah, 82. Yeah. I've only seen The Thing recently for the first time. Properly watching it, though, I thought it was great. Well, it's a great film. It's a classic.
I wonder if because Bob's gone now. I wonder if he'll watch the prequel. I wonder what he'll think of it.
I don't know. Be interesting.
Have you seen the prequel?
Is that, you mean the 1950s version?
No. When The Thing came out, years later, they wanted to tell what happened at the other camp.
I haven't seen that. I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, and John Carpenter gave it its blessing to be made.
What's it called?
I've forgotten. But it's The Thing something or other. But it came out as a double bill. It came out as a double bill DVD and a double bill Blu-ray, years ago. But he praised the director because he was going to be using standard makeup type effects. But then they ran out of money. They started to use CGI, and I don't think he absolutely poo-pooed it, but he did say he was disappointed that they went down that road.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it, and I thought it's all right. It's an all right film. It's all right. It'll never beat The Thing, but it's quite good to see what happened, because it ends with the dog running across the snow to go towards the American camp, which is where the first film starts.
Yeah.
Right. Now this is where I learned a long time ago that prequels can be quite bad, and not because of that. It's just that what's going to happen at the end of the film, because the beginning the beginning of the next film is where that one starts off. So everybody at that camp died. That they all died because well, apart from two, that were shooting at the dog.
Yeah.
But full well that the creature ran off as a dog into the snow, and the two remaining scientists were shooting at it. So everybody else died. So in that film there's no scare, because exactly what's going on.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's why I'm saying whenever you watch a TV series called The Penguin, right? And it's supposed to be how the penguin turned into the penguin. Well, full well what the end of the TV series is, then, don't you? Eventually he turns into the Penguin, who is one of Batman's major villains, right? The only enjoyment you get out of it is that you're watching the journey of how he turned into the Penguin. But you full well he can't die, because he's at the end of that film, he's going to be dressed up in costume and look like the Penguin, isn't he? He ain't going to die. So how can you feel any angst about his character through the series when you know he can't die?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with the prequel.
Been...
That is the problem. The big problem of a prequel is it's got to tell the story before something you've already seen, and you know where the beginning of that film started. So you know, therefore, that if you see a character that's is in the second film, the original film, and they turn up in the prequel, they ain't gonna die, are they? They're in the next film.
Well, they tried to. You could argue they tried to flip that with those Joker films. That that awful folly, whatever it is, the ending on that. They tried to trick you, didn't they? Really?
Oh yeah.
When so they have been trying that out, haven't they? But the ultimate what is going to happen. But
yeah, that's the problem with a prequel is ultimately how it ends.
Yeah. Right, we've got here Tony saying Jeremiah Johnson with Robert Redford as him living alone in the wilderness for a lot of the time as a mountain man in the American West of the 19th century. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Yeah. It could actually even be amongst the DVDs that you sent me. I don't know. I'll check that out. Yeah, but they're all alone. I wonder what he's referring to. That is that the thing still? I don't know. And All Is Lost and Arctic are two more Solitude films. Highly recommended for both of these. All right. Yeah. Arctic settings always have that feeling of the solitude aspect, even with people around. I think.
You look out the window and all you see is snow. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if it's bad weather, if you've got a snowstorm, it's even, brings it home even more, that solitude. The Thing is my second favorite film of all time. Wow.
It's on many people's, I think.
Thanks for the recommendations. I've got quite a list to work through. Cheers, all. You're welcome. Yeah, everybody contributes here. And then we've got Jamie saying, Mads Mikkelsen deserved an Oscar nomination for his performance in Arctic. All right. He's incredible in it. Wow. He's a good actor, isn't he? Mads Mikkelsen is an underrated actor. Loved him in Hannibal. Yeah. And then Tony says, watched, here we are. I can never forget this. Fitzcarraldo. Another film from director Werner Herzog, starring Klaus Kinski, Claudia Cardinelli, and Kinski plays an opera lover trying to raise the money to build an opera house in early 20th century Amazonian. I know it's there's more. Yeah, Peru. He tries hauling a riverboat over a mountain in part of the film. I know it's crazy. It's a crazy film, isn't it? The concept.
I've heard of that being done and lifting a boat over a mountain. What film did I see?
Yeah.
It might have been that film.
On the poster, you see that boat. You see it. It's on the poster, isn't it? It's crazy, but there we are. Sai says, Tony York, that's the film in which the Brazilian rainforest natives offered to kill Kinski for the way he was behaving. Yes, I think there's a lot of background to making of that film as well. So I can't believe that. In the extras, there was a document detailing all the demands Kinski made on the director as a condition for him taking the part. He was an extremely demanding person. Yeah,
he was.
I've heard that about him generally. demanding. And then James says, this Wednesday night stream just proves how many films are out there that no one knows about and that deserve a Blu-ray release instead of the same films being re-released time and time again in different packaging. I think it's a very good point. I agree.
I think I mentioned, Ian, last week that I was so disappointed that Film Vault, which brought out those lovely packaged films, you know, that with a little crystal and everything like that in them.
Yeah,
their next two films are Poltergeist and
again.
What's the other one? It was. I just looked at it and went, again. Christ, we just had Poltergeist. What the hell?
Yeah.
And top it off, they're doing the big box packaging and they're doing a steelbook packaging of it because you don't get a steelbook in the big box packaging, right? And it's just a way of making the money twice, because if you're a steelbook collector and you started to buy those big box ones, you got to buy them both. And a lot of people bought those steelbooks like Jaws. Remember Jaws and they brought them out again, didn't they?
Yeah.
They brought them out
and then there's another steelbook coming out of that. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. Everybody
bought those again, and then they hoped that was funding the next 4 big blockbuster films. And the next one's a bloody Poltergeist, and some hasn't you just said, bloody hell, I've just had that Poltergeist, Christ.
Yeah.
What's that
all these films? There's so many good films that people don't know about or need to be discovered, or these companies should be pushing them. You know, that's what I mean. To be fair, Arrow can do that sometimes, can't they? They can push films that are not as recognized as much. But the studios wouldn't do that, would they? They'll leave it to the boutique labels to do it. But it's a shame that, I suppose as well, it's to do with money. For some reason, these films are popular amongst collectors, and they'll just think, oh, we'll get another copy of it and another copy. And it's playing on that, but it's detriment.
As long as they don't bring out a 4K copy of Condor Man.
Yeah.
Only joking, Si. Yeah. I'm only joking.
And then Jamie says Fitzgeraldo is brilliant. Yeah, a lot of people do like it. I think the craziness of it. Take that back, Delboy. Condor Man is a classic. There you are. And then Ian turned off Spider-Man halfway through. No, I didn't.
Did you?
No. Do you know what film I was on about? I watched Deadpool again, and I just had enough of it. I just don't get on with it now. I'm going to get rid of it.
Again, a different type of film. It's supposed to be. Deadpool is supposed to be the merc with the mouth. He's supposed to be quick-witted.
Yeah, it tiresome, boring.
The trouble is, the humor goes above my head sometimes. I'm just going, what's that mean? Is that supposed to be funny?
Yeah. It was a bit like that. To me, it was all knowing and trying to be funny. And I thought it got boring. I was bored with it. I thought I'll give it another chance. Because I think you said to me, watch it again.
Deadpool versus Wolverine was an okayish film in my eyes. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I'm not a huge over-the-head fan of Deadpool films. There's 3 Deadpool films, and to be quite honest, if I hadn't seen any of them, I'd have been okay.
Oh, all right. So it's quite low down.
Well, I'm just turning around and saying, if I hadn't seen them, then would I be upset? No, because Deadpool's not a character that's really on my radar, so I couldn't really care less.
Yeah.
If I hadn't seen Shang-Chi, I wouldn't have cared too much. It's
Marvel's that's another
character, you know? I mean, but that doesn't make the film bad. What I'm just trying to say is I just couldn't care less if it was made or not.
Yeah. I just had enough of it, but I tried it again. I thought I deserved to give it a try, but it just didn't like it. So true, Jimmy. I guess that the companies are afraid of releasing what they consider an unknown quantity with relatively unknown titles. They seem to prefer sticking ones that can sell well. That's the problem, isn't it? You know, it's a big dilemma in terms of physical media release. All I would hope is that these titles that sell well and they make money means that they can make a big profit out of them, which allows them to do the more unknown titles, the lesser titles, and still put them out. That's what you have to hope, that in terms of finance, companies can do that, because it's no good. I mean, eventually people will have enough, because they'll think they've been, even the collectors might turn around and say, well, I've been taken for a ride here, you know. I mean, it could become a point where they've oversaturated these so-called special films, you know, the ones that everybody wants, Jaws and Blade Runner and everything. You could get to a point where people say, well, no, I don't want another blooming edition of that. You know, it just makes sense. Worst film and TV show film, Jaws the Revenge. TV show, Mrs. Brown's Boys. Yeah, I would definitely now put that. Yeah, I should have thought of Mrs. Brown's Boys. Unwatchable for me. It's just awful. It's just,
is it the worst though? Is it the worst?
I think it's probably.
I mean,
I know you said this Mrs. Noah.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is, when you consider some of the comedies that were out in the 70s, I mean, they're just showing on TV at the moment, right? And I'd never heard of it, or should I say, I'd forgotten all about it. There was a comedy called "Don't Drink the Water," right?
All right.
You know what "Don't Drink the Water" is? It's the follow-up to On the Buses, where Blakey moved to Spain. Right?
That's it. I have heard of it mentioned.
Lived in Spain, right? I've watched 3 episodes of it so far, and it's terrible. Absolutely terrible, right? I'm sure there's people out there that are going to be going, how dare you say that show was terrible? It was absolutely brilliant, blah, 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 blah. On the Buses was brilliant. That show is awful.
Yeah.
Right? And all I'm saying is, Mrs. Brown's Boys, I detest. I don't like it. I can't watch it.
Do.
Right? Yeah. But I've seen far worse. It's just Mrs. Brown Boys to me started off as being something a little bit different, and I could watch it, and it had a few funny moments. And then, for some unknown reason, I think after about the 3rd year, I fell out with it. And then it's been on now for something like 10 or 11 years, and it's
and BBC keeps signing deals,
and yet it's the most watched. Oh, it's the most watched show on Christmas Eve.
Why?
And I just don't get it.
I don't.
It's the same crap jokes. It's coarse. It's
it's awful.
And he actually revels in it. He actually turns around and says,
"Well, he's doing quite well."
He says, "I get criticised for making a crap script with a crap direction and crap jokes and all of this sort of stuff. Yeah, here I am, millionaire."
Yeah,
he says, and I says, "I'm the most watched thing at Christmas."
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
mind you,
and that's why I gave you that question earlier, didn't I?
Sorry. But the future of Mrs. Brown's Boys will go once the BBC goes. That'll be it. It's going to go eventually. So that's the only good thing to think about it. But I'm sure they've signed a contract where it goes. It's still due for another 3 or 4 years worth of these dreadful episodes.
Oh, it will.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Just
I
carry on.
I swear sometimes, I bet you any money, the mums and the dads have got their 6-year-olds or something sitting on the sofa watching that program, and yet it's got more swearing in it than an 18 film that I could watch back in the 80s.
Innuendo, sexual
and
stuff.
With innuendos in,
yeah.
And yet 6-year-olds are watching it, right? And I'm going, wow, bloody hell. There's the society that we live in then, right?
Yeah. It's just, what can you say?
I mean, Les Dawson was subtle.
Do you know what would be wonderful? If you could have, and it'll never ever happen, and it's so sad, somebody like Dick Emery doing a Christmas special in the olden days. Wouldn't it be great? I'd love that. Absolutely love Dick Emery to do a show like that. Wouldn't it be great at Christmas? I'm sure he had Christmas specials.
He did have Christmas specials. He did do Christmas specials. He did. Oh, and we got drop off.
Oh, we're back. That's happened twice. Yeah.
Ah, right.
Yeah, that doesn't normally happen, but it's happened twice. Oh well.
It could be StreamYard servers. I don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're not forking out their 50 quid bloody plan, then you're on a crap server, I should think.
They might start. Yes. Yeah. That's true. I mean? The service might go down on this. Right. So yeah, Steve's Gaming. We kind of hopefully answered the question. I don't know on that one. The worst film.
There's certain people we know, Ian, that would not put Jaws: The Revenge as the worst film.
And
I know there is. Even myself, I might turn around and say it's bad, but I've seen worse. And I have seen worse than Jaws: The Revenge. But to some people, if that's the worst film you've ever seen, then you've been lucky. Because I can tell you, there's probably about 150 to 200 films below that are worse than Jaws: The Revenge.
But I say, it's like when this Exorcist 2 came up. That's why I immediately thought of that, because that's how it is, isn't it? You know. But there is probably quite a few. But Mrs. Brown's Boys, I see that. I can see exactly why. Who remembers Hardwick House with Roy Kinnear? I think that was banned after one episode. I found that old series on YouTube. I'm going to watch them soon. Oh, the Roy Kinnear. Sadly, he died, didn't he, in an accident?
Oh, yeah.
Filming The Three Musketeers, wasn't it? Yeah, in Spain. I've not heard of that mentioned.
I can't remember. Maybe I probably have seen it. I am of that age where I've seen just about everything when it comes to TV of the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah. He says he found the whole series on YouTube. So if anybody's interested, go have a look on YouTube.
It's amazing what you can find on YouTube, I have to say.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah. It's like all these people make me laugh. They go on YouTube and say, I'm being cancelled. Oh dear, it's the cancel coach. They keep going on about me and they can't stop talking and they're not being cancelled. And then you look and all the shows they're talking about are on YouTube. So they haven't been cancelled. Sorry, that's my rant. Anyway, gents and all, to bed shortly. Have a good evening. We'll watch on the catch up. Have a good rest of your week ahead. Thank you as always.
And I'll tell you what, he's done some cracking community questions, guys. If you haven't gone over to his channel just recently, I appreciate Bob trying to join us all together as a community by doing some community questions, and it's a shame there isn't a few people picking up that question and giving an answer. But I must admit, the last one he did, I found it extremely difficult to come up with jaw-dropping music that made my jaw drop when I watched the film. The music that was in,
that's a
I've
difficult
got
one,
how many soundtracks? I'd find that extremely difficult, to come up with a definitive, list. But I'm pretty sure to other people it's not. So if you can, please have a little look at Bob's channel, because it's brilliant.
Then we've got Jamie. One of the worst films I've ever seen was Eaten Alive by Toby Hooper. It was atrociously bad. I've not seen that, but obviously Toby Hooper, what a name. But they do make bad films. Jamie says night, Bob, and then Si says night, wee Bob, and Tony says night, Bob, and then we've got Tony York saying never heard of Hardwick House. Roy Kinnear was good as George's cowboy builder pal in George and Mildred, which often gets mentioned.
But he was
George and Mildred,
and just like you were saying, he was great as in Dick Emery, where he was the father of that that family. He used to go, "Sorry, Dad, I got it wrong again," didn't he? He used to,
I remember.
He always did seem to play the same type of character, some sort of do-it-yourself fixing man or something, wasn't it?
Yes, so to tell you what, it was all about a school which was out of control. Roy Kinnear was the headmaster. It had a Nazi history teacher too. Oh, it sounds a bit crazy then. And then James says there's a great Michael Caine, Omar Sharif film called The Last Valley that I watched on YouTube that is desperate for a Blu-ray release. Yeah, I've got that on DVD, one of Tony's films that he sent me.
Yeah, here we go. Look. Sorry, I forgot we haven't mentioned Tony in 15 minutes, have we? Yeah, I forgot.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. We now interrupt this show for a 15-minute advert from our sponsor, Tony York, the bastard.
Yeah. And I've just remembered something, and it's quite important that Delboy here, I've put his link down in the description. And please, if you're new to this channel watching it, then please subscribe to his channel. It's a great channel, and he's nearly 300 now, I think.
And I've been for
have you reached 300 yet? We need to get him over 300. So if you've not subscribed, please subscribe to his channel. It's definitely there in the link. Go over there and look at his brilliant channel. He's got a famous blog, which really is brilliant, and he does a lot of other things. Recently, he's been doing these trading card ones. He does all sorts. Go and have a look. You'll find something for you. So there's my plug. I've remembered this week.
How many watching? Right. How many watching? 6? Is it
9? 9. Wasn't that better than note? We don't have any more than 13, I think.
So earlier on, when we had 30 people watching, you thought, I know, I won't mention it.
Don't get.
I'll plug Del when it drops to 6.
We've never had 30 people watching a thing. We get overall, we do well on long term. We get over 100 to 200 people.
It's not about that, though, is it? It's about the fun of doing it. That's the thing, isn't it?
Exactly. And all the people that we enjoy our people that come and just support our stream and enjoy it like we do, because we love it. Yeah. And then sorry, I should have gone back to Steve's gaming. Sorry, I'm got carried away there. Steve Gavin, Grand National, yeah, in my opinion, they should be banned. I'm against animal cruelty. That is barbaric. I think there is a lot to say on that. Certainly, they need to make it.
It's like, as I said, my dad always said that horses love racing. I just think it's too dangerous. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to the point of absurdity. The horses can still have a great time racing without having bloody Beecher's Brook and flipping the chair and all that sort of shit. I'm just going to go and get myself another drink. I won't be a minute.
Yeah. Well, people argue you've got flat racing, and that's where they're enjoying themselves, the horses. And do you need those high fences? It's an interesting point, but I think people now are more aware about safety than perhaps they were, and times have changed a bit how we view things. Definitely, the Nazi teacher could have something to do with the banning. It probably did. It just sounds crazy, doesn't it? And Tony says, I have The Last Valley on Blu-ray, Jamie. Sent Ian the DVD. You did, yes. And I'm sure it was foreign, possibly Spanish. Sure, I got it from eBay. Sometimes entries on there only appear if you type the title in. In the appropriate language. That's an interesting point in the way that it searches. Yeah, that's a very good point. That. And then James says, does it have to have English audio without subs? I might have to pick that up if I can find a copy. That's an important thing as well. You've got to get the English audio. If you don't, then it's terrible. You can't do it. It's like I've kind of given up. I haven't been downloading many films because I've been downloading films and I thought, oh, that looks good, and I've read about it, and it says it's a French film, but you don't get the subtitles. You need at least subtitles in those kind of films, but that does happen, and it is important. You don't want to get one that's just in Spanish and that's it. Yeah. He said he certainly had English audio. I don't remember being any for subtitles. Laugh out loud. The Blu-ray is called El Ultimo Valley. Yeah. That wasn't very good accent. He says, I'm going to buy it. Jamie says, I've never been a fan of fox hunting, but who remembers that scene from the final conflict? Sam Neill was scary as he, yeah, I remember that scene really well. He gets all the foxes to attack. Isn't it those monks that it becomes quite funny. I find it quite funny, those monks failing to kill him all the time. And yeah, they tried to kill him, and because the foxes turn around, and I remember seeing it. Yeah, it's a good scene. That Sam Neill looks like he's really enjoying himself in that role, as you can imagine he was. I bet he loved it. That title rings a bell. Don't forget to send Del your DVD copy, Jamie. Yeah. I don't own it all, Tony. All right. Watched it on YouTube once. That's a shame, Jamie. No DVD gift then. Oh well, Delboy's missed out again. Yeah, that's it. He's here now.
Yeah, he's a bastard. He's got it. He just doesn't want to. I heard something about subtitles. Tell me what that was about.
About what?
Subtitles. What was that about?
Oh, yeah, it was on about films that sometimes say it's a Spanish film, and you find that there isn't any subtitles in English, to watch out for that. I've heard other people mention that
What, on
sometimes you
physical
do get a
media?
Spanish film.
On physical media, you mean?
If it's a Spanish film itself, then it, sometimes they do have the subtitles, but not all of these films do. And you've got to look out.
I will tell you
that
this. I will tell you this. You have a better chance of getting an English translation of a foreign film in digital format than you do the physical format, believe it or not. There's been times. Don't get me wrong. On digital format, it was bad at first because they used to hard code them. Right, you couldn't watch it without the subtitles playing all the way through. But about 20 years ago, they separated the file. It's called an SRT file. It's a .srt file. And just like Japanese games that have been translated to English that you'd never be able to play in this country because you wouldn't understand what the game was about, there's a lot of people that translate the film and put the SRT file up on the internet so that you can actually download the digital file, and then you can download the separate SRT file and you've got the English subtitles for it. So actually, sometimes the streaming media can be stronger than the physical media if they haven't done it.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Simon says, I've just thought of a great solitude film, 127 Hours.
Do you know what? I thought of that. I thought of that film and I thought to myself, maybe 127 hours isn't quite long enough to be solitude. But it is. He's by himself, 127 hours. It's a true story. Have you ever seen the film?
Yeah.
You ever seen the film?
I've not seen that, no.
Oh, yeah. He's mountaineering. If it's the right film, he's mountaineering. He slips.
Oh, right, yeah.
His hand gets caught between two rocks. And for hours and hours and days and days, he has to cut his own arm off. It's a Danny Boyle film.
That's right.
It's a Danny Boyle.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thought of him cutting his arm off. Oh, my God. Oh. Wow.
But I just wondered, is 127 hours solitude enough? Because he wasn't. It's not like he went crazy because he had nobody to talk to. He went crazy because he was losing all the circulation in his arm to the point where he had to bloody cut his arm off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did think of that one myself, side to be quite.
Yeah. Jamie says, good shout, Si.
That's why I'm saying I think it's a good shout, because it possibly is.
Yeah. And then James says, I think Arrow have become the same, pushing out re-releases and constantly these days. Oh, yeah, that's what we're going on about, the same titles. Yeah, a lot of I've noticed people have been going on about Arrow now. They're not the same as they were. Yeah.
I do know that my friend Denny looks out for me, and he told me that the latest, is it the Shout Factory? The latest releases have been pretty good. There's The Stuff, Narc.
They're American, aren't they? Shout Factory. Yeah.
I don't know. He said he'd ordered them all bar Narc, and there was The Stuff.
Yeah.
There was Zombie Flesh Eaters.
I've seen that one now. I've seen that special edition mentioned. Yeah, I'm sure
those are films that have not been out for years. There is some good stuff coming out. But Arrow. Yeah, I must admit they did RoboCop. Then they did a RoboCop 4K, and then they did it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what?
Yeah,
and it's in the same box, and even the booklet's got just one page changed,
which is it's ripping people off. Yeah, yeah. And I bet there isn't that much difference. You might as well settle with Blu-ray. I bet, really. And then we've got here, tell you another watch, Footsteps in the Fog, 1955, set in an Edwardian England. Stuart Granger plays a man who's poisoned his wealthy wife and is found out by his maid. William Hartnell plays a blackmailer. Oh, good old William Hartnell popping up in all these films. Yeah, he did. He popped up in all sorts. And then we've got Tony saying, I have Don't Drink the Water on network. It's definitely not comparable to On the Buses. The characters, apart from Blakey and possibly Pat Coombs as his sister, are terrible. Yeah.
It's honestly, I watched it. I went, what's this? And then I looked it up and it was like, this is the follow-up to On the Buses. I went, there was a follow-up to On the Buses?
Yeah.
Apparently it came out in 1974, ran for 2 years. It had Derek Griffiths in it. And he is in it. Derek Griffiths is in it.
So it got two series.
It's atrocious to watch. I was watching it and I was going, this isn't funny at all. It's awful.
Yeah.
And how you can have a writing duo like what was his name? Wolf, I think his name was, wasn't it? Who wrote On the Buses? It was Wolf and Cheney or something, wasn't it? Cheney and Wolf.
Yeah.
How they could write that, I don't know. It was bloody awful. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Chesney and Wolf or something like that.
Yeah. Now, Si says, for me, the problem with Mrs. Brown's Boys is that it's dated 70s humour.
Well, it's the style of 70s dated humour. It's the style. Because it's got obviously modern jokes in it, but in the style that you'd have written it in the 70s humour. Which is by the way, ladies and gents, I did ask a question to Ian before we came on. And that's because I'm always trying to think of a topic that nobody else will have thought of, right? Because I want to raise the channels thing. So I'm just going to raise this with you guys, right? I asked him and I said, Ian, I want your opinion on this. I said, Timmy Lee, the Confessions films, right? Why are they what is the lasting legacy of the Confessions films? Because at the end of the day, they made millions when they came out. They were very, very popular. But then everybody blacklists them and say they're absolutely awful, don't watch them. But they were so mimicked and copied. There's Confessions of a Private Eye and all of these, came out when when they left the Timmy Lee behind of it and went into other areas, they still carried on. And there's all that Mary Millican bloody crap.
Oh, that stuff,
that basically they're all based around titillation. It's all carry on, but further because you see boobs and snatch and all of that sort of stuff, But at the end of the day, millions watched them. They were mimicked. They were copied. But they brought out a box set of it 3 years ago, and I don't think anybody bought it.
Yeah.
So what is the lasting legacy of Timmy Lee's Confession films? Because they can't have been bad because they were watched, and they were watched in their millions.
Yeah, people went to the cinema.
So I don't think a series or a film is as bad as what we make out for them. It's just I think our tastes change, and from my point of view, the lasting legacy really is the different type of actors and actresses that actually went on to be big stars because of those films.
Yeah,
they don't hold up today, but if you think about it, you've got. I said to Ian before we came on, if you watch Confessions of a Driving Instructor, you've got the woman who made the Bisto adverts, right? I've forgotten her name now. A very, very well-known actress, went on to be universally loved, has been on theatre, done lots of films, done lots of TV, and that would have been one of her earliest things that she'd have been in, and yet she took her clothes off in that. I mean, can you imagine them doing all those Bisto adverts where she's Linda Bellingham, that's the name, where she was the home mother of the Bisto adverts for 10 years, yet she was in a snuff film. You know what I mean? Would they have hired her if they must have forgotten about it or something and said that wasn't going to be damaging her homeliness as a mother and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But wouldn't have that these days. People look at what you've written on Twitch or something, and if you've written anything to do with racism or something like that, basically you're sacked out of the job. So she wouldn't have ever have got the Bisto adverts, would she? Yeah. Oh, we can't have you. You showed your boobs off in a
yeah.
You can't have that. So you know, I think there's a lot of actors and actresses that actually came out of those films, and that's probably one of the good legacies of those films, that we did see a number
you
of.
You could argue this might be an interesting point, is that those films, because they went a bit further, you actually were seeing breasts, helped push eventually more soft porn mainstream films. And the obvious ones are Emmanuel films. So in a way, you could say films like that were pushing the boundaries and allowing more soft porn into the mainstream. And Emmanuel at the time was massive. I remember that
French and it was porn, around about 1977-8, isn't it?
Sylvia Crystal, and it was pushed. It did well at the box office. I don't know how many they made. They made loads of them that probably didn't do as well. But I wonder if things like Confessions of a Window Cleaner push that boundary.
If I remember rightly, Ian, I think Emmanuel in Space was the last one.
Yeah.
I think it was Emmanuel in Space. If I remember right.
There was the Black Emmanuel. They had all sorts of different ones.
Even the carry-ons did Emmanuel.
Yes, that's considered one of the worst carry-on films. The Carry-On Emmanuel. Yeah. But it's what you're saying is interesting, because those films were pushing the boundaries a bit more. They were more graphic from a viewpoint than, say, carry-on films ever were. So they were pushing boundaries, I think, and making sex. But you see, the way the British film industry was always seen dealing with sex is making humor out of it. It was the way that we seem to do it. You know, when you got serious sex films where sex was involved, they weren't the British films, were there? There'd be more Hollywood pushing the boundaries. I can't think of any British films really.
Well, because I mean, you could turn around and say that Last Tango in Paris wouldn't have got made if it weren't for Emmanuel and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, French films. That influences the French film cinema would have been quite explicit, going right even in 60s for the time anyhow. But it's an interesting what you're saying. It makes me wonder about what films were pushing the boundaries and are opening the gates, and maybe the carry-on those films were the confession films. Perhaps they were just showing that bit extra that you didn't see, and that's why they did well. I mean, I know it really sounds quite sad now. It sounds really sad that people were going to cinema just to see.
If people are watching this on a rewatch or something, I'm just interested to know, what do you think the most leading legacy of the Confessions films is in this day and age? What is the lasting legacy of those films?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Indicator by releasing them, of kind of showing that, as a British cultural thing almost. They're British films, and they were part of our culture at that period in time. As I said to you before, I always remember the books, because we used to go at lunchtime to this bookshop in town, and you'd see all the books.
I don't want to know about your mucky bookshops that you watched in Leeds. I don't want to know about them.
But there were quite explicit covers and fillers. All these films. But anyhow, we won't go too much into that.
I wondered where the term muck and brass came from, you dirty devil.
Bye, Ian. Promise your son a takeaway if he subscribes to Del's channel. Okay. See, takeaway.
What do you mean he's not subscribed to me, the bastard?
Yeah. I better tell him. Final watch of the week: Horror Express with Cushion and Lee, and a small role for Telly Savalas as a Cossack. Yeah, I've seen the film. It's good fun. And you're right, Telly Savalas comes on the train, doesn't he? It's quite funny.
He just about shoots everybody, doesn't he? He just about kills everybody in that. It was on Legend TV, I think, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, wasn't it?
It's a great film. I love it. It's silly, really, but it's a great film. Yeah. Great film, great fun. Yeah. Yes. Tony says yes, Jamie. Such a pity Savalas didn't have a bit longer time on screen. Yeah, that's true. I suppose he's not in it a great deal, is he? Because he comes on and
no, he was too busy doing public information adverts for Birmingham,
or recording singles for the charts, having a career singing.
Bloody hell! Yeah.
I use the word loosely, singing.
Isn't he great grandfather of something like that woman on Friends? What's her name? The one who plays the one who plays.
I don't know Friends. I know I sound rather out of it.
It's Jennifer Aniston. The name is Jennifer Aniston. I think.
Yeah, I know. I
think she's related because of her background and nationality. That Savalas is something like a great uncle or something like that.
Yeah. And then we've got Steve's Gaming. Tell me out. Yes, we were very disappointed with Don't Drink the Water. Also, didn't even finish it. Oh, no. It really must be that bad. Really bad. Steve, I did watch it right through years ago, but won't be rushing to do it again. No.
Honestly, it's
a network title.
It's Blakey leaving the country to go over to Spain during the time where England was doing the 3-day week, and then there was all the electricity cuts and stuff.
Yeah,
living a new life in Spain until he decides he's going to go over to Spain until all the problems have gone away, and then he was going to go back or something.
Yeah.
Awful! It's an even bad idea. It's like what?
It doesn't. Oh dear!
Right.
I wonder if Jim Jam's got it. If it's on network,
I bet you he has. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. He's come back, hasn't he? He started doing some videos again.
He's bought things like Upstairs and Downstairs, so I'm bound sure he's bought it.
Yeah. Right, my eyes are starting to feel heavy, so I'll say good night before I fall asleep. Thank you, Jamie, as always, for joining us.
Cheers, Jamie, you little shit.
Brilliant. Yeah.
See you, shit, you little bastard. Cheers. Bye.
And Sai says, night, Muckman. Night, Jamie. Good night, you all. Thank you. So I've just realised something. With the mention of Roy Kinnear playing a builder in George and Mildred, was the series Cowboys a spin-off? Oh, I don't know.
It's Cowboys is not a spin-off of George and Mildred, but it is the same sort of character. I remember the theme tune again on that one. Cowboys, don't hire the cowboys. If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing wrong with a nail too short and a screw too long. Cowboys, yeah. But I don't think it was, because when it comes to George and Mildred, it was all to do with Man About the House, then George and Mildred, Then it was Robin's Nest, which is a distant relative.
Oh yeah,
because Robin tripped one and bought a restaurant, and I think that's where it ended. Because basically, Richard O'Sullivan then did things like My Girl and Me, which have got absolutely nothing to do at all with anything to do with the Ropers and all of that. So I don't think the Cowboys is at all. It's just another character. That's similar.
All right. Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Now. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's it.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Psy has reminded me sort of the name that was in the Confession films. Linda Bellingham.
Yeah, Linda Bellingham, that's it. Yeah.
She's in, is it the window cleaner one? Yeah.
No, she's the driving instructor one. The driving instructor.
Oh, she's the driving instructor, is it? Yeah. And then I'm aware of Cowboy Psy, but never watched it. I remember seeing pictures of Colin Welland and the Irish guy who played the one-arm washer up in Robin's Nest were in it too. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah,
Robin's
see, so
Nest.
that's what I'm trying to say. Robin's Nest had the one arm, and the Robin's Nest is a follow-on.
Yeah. And Psy says Liz Fraser and Jill Gascoigne were in them too. All right.
Yeah, they were. Jill Gascoigne was in it.
Yeah, I have. Tony says I have those confessions on the in the indicator set they released last year. Not seen them yet, so he claims. My excuse for the purchase.
Lying.
Complete my filmography as Liz Fraser.
Lying bollocksy bastard. That's all I gotta say. You lying piece of shit.
You fell into that trap. Yeah, I thought you would. So there was an Emmanuel remake last year. It had Naomi Watts, the Ring films, in a supporting role. I didn't know they did a remake last year.
Bloody hell.
Never heard of it. Anyway, crikey. Nobody mentioned that. I never heard anybody. Right. This is a question for you, in a way. You'll see in a minute. Who's a better singer, Terry Savalas or William Shatner?
Well, I think they're so bad that I think you've got to go by. I think you've got to if you're going to go head to head, you've got to go by record sales, and I think William Shatner sold more than Telly Savalas. So I am going to go with William Shatner. It's got to be. He sold more copies than Telly Savalas.
Oh, right.
And they're
brilliant.
both.
I like it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
William Shatner singing Rocket Man means that William Shatner wins. There you go.
It's legendary, isn't it? It's a legend, actually, William Shatner. He did Common People as well, Pulp song, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's just...
I'm just waiting for him to come out with an Iron Maiden track next. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. Run for the Hills. Definitely, you can see William Shatner doing that. Yeah. Right. And then we have got I think this is the last one. Yep. This is Tony said there was an extra feature on the Arrow edition of Horror Express telling about the composer of the music for the film helped to get Savalas to perform those songs. Oh, crikey. So he's responsible, this person, the composer. Oh, wow. Jesus. Anyhow, I think that's it. Yes. Thank you, everybody. We've got to the end. Everybody that's contributed, whether you've been just watching or putting comments down, thank you ever so much. And thank you, Delboy, as well. Thank you so much.
No, you honestly, thanks so much. I'll tell you what, everybody here is just so nice to me. I mean, you know, as much as Tony York's a complete bastard, and so Psy, I love them to death, really. It's sort of like
Yeah.
I couldn't say those things about them like that if I didn't love them to bits. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's an in joke,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's yeah. But
Like I said, I've had such a terrible time. This is such a bad time for me, and we're trying my best to get my mum back. And I know I'm fighting a losing battle. Her memory will eventually go, and all of that sort of stuff. So this distraction is not a distraction anymore. It's sort of like a hope that I'm going to be here every week. Because I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do without it.
Yeah,
I
know.
know.
So they're saying, so we've got good night all from Tony, and we've got Sai say 99, a great stream, Ian and Delboy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As I say, thank you, Delboy, and look forward to next week's again. So, as usual, we'll give our farewells if we remember to do it right. So, do you want to give your farewell?
Well, I always just go, and it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night. And that's how the two runners used to do it. But really, my one is always salute, which is from Frankie Howard, if nobody's ever guessed it so far. So, and you do yours now, don't you? Go on.
And all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And we go.